Ooh. Hey, it's the Bennington show on Wednesday, or Wednesday, as Chris Stanley calls it. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
Oh, and I'm Ron Bennington. Now, here's the thing, folks. It's a Wednesday. It's midweek. Let's all look out for each other today, shall we?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Because this is the suicide day of the week. More people commit suicide on a Wednesday because they just don't feel like the weekend's coming.
Wow, that's so sad.
I'm always open to all my friends on a Wednesday. I'll text them. I'm like, I'm here. If you need me.
Even though it's Wednesday, you've got to help your friends get over the hump day.
I didn't think of that because it is. Wednesday is like a hump.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also the longest lettered day that we have, I believe. And that's stressful, okay? Especially on you millennials. You have a whole different social media thing. Twitter is now going to, I think, 4,000 characters. You can just write a book on Twitter. It's too much. I like short tweets. Okay?
That was the thing that's great about Twitter.
Yeah.
Brevity is the soul of wit.
I put a bomb threat at the headquarters. But I get carried away.
Yeah.
You know what? Low sugar. That's my fault. I should always keep some almonds in my pocket. I don't. I think I don't want them to get all linty. I don't know why I keep lint in my pocket. That's the thing that I got to stop doing. Too much lint.
Now, I'll forget this, so I have to bring it up. I had to take my dog to the vet yesterday, and I told the vet, she was asking about if she likes any vegetables to eat and about making sure that she's eating healthy and everything. And then I said, well, the only vegetable that she really likes is green beans. And she's like, oh, I have some in my pocket. I've just been snacking on them. And she, out of her, she's in a nurse's uniform. You know what I mean? So she's taking it out of her pocket, and it's just a dry green bean. I mean, I've never seen anything like this.
It's disgusting.
I'm like, how did she just produce the one random vegetable that I picked? It was very strange. She's like, I just was having some snacks. I like to keep green beans in my pocket. And my dog would not eat it. Because I think she was like, that's gross. She looked at her like, that's disgusting. I would not eat a green bean out of your pocket.
I didn't know dogs ate green beans. I'm fucking blown away by this.
It's the only one she likes. If you give her a carrot, she'll projectile spit it out.
But if this was a movie, I would think that the aliens had got to that woman. She's just eating green beans so she can stay on this planet.
So weird.
One time I went to 92nd Street Y to see a Lou Reed interview, and this is many, many years ago. Before it was many, many years ago. So the guy who was hosting it, who was somewhat infamous rock writer, he says to the audience before we start, "I have low blood sugar, and but I have some grapes up here, so you might see me eating grapes." So no one in the room left. I'm a fucking biting through. It's a small room. It's a small room like we do on Mass, right?
Yeah.
So I'm already biting through my lip. And then every time Lou's reading, he's just slowly popping grapes in my mouth. And then after a while, I was like, man, I want a fucking grape so bad. They're so refreshing. It's like eating something and getting a drink at the same time. And then when it was question time to the audience, I go, you got any more of those grapes? I'm sorry, it's just done. I'm going to get some strawberries now. It's something I need for my low blood sugar. Don't act like you suffer from something. You're a hungry guy. You're not suffering. You know what I mean? It's not like you're getting insulin or fucking chemo. It's a grape.
I don't know how I wake up every morning, but I managed to do it.
Yesterday I had to go to Gotham, and then I came over and did Nick's show. When at some point they go, "Could you come in tonight?" I don't know when there was a fallout. They swear there wasn't. No, because they actually said you can come in tonight, Thursday, or Friday. I go, I'll swing by tonight because I was going to be at Gotham, and then I thought to myself, you ever see the show Friends or Seinfeld, right? Mm-hmm. How come everybody has so much energy after work? You know what I mean? My in between doing shows, I felt exhausted. And I'm I could never be a sitcom character. Right. I would be the guy in Friends going I don't want to go to the coffee shop. I had a really long fucking day. How do they have so much time to care about each other's lives? Like Chris could have came in and told me that something terrible was his girlfriend, and I wouldn't have been able to have the energy to be there like Joey is
Right.
for Matthew Perry.
Nobody's ever sleepy in sitcoms. Nobody's just like, I don't know, I guess.
Nobody ever had to do overtime. Nobody ever said, I want to, but I got work is making me stay, so I can't meet you at the coffee shop. Fucking Jerry has nothing with time. It's not even traveling. He's available to do anything.
He can do anything. He's ready to go out to eat at any time.
George never kept a steady job and was able to afford an apartment in New York City.
Yes, and dining out all the time.
Constant dining out.
I mean, this wasn't a guy who cooked.
Yeah. They didn't even do much takeout. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were going out.
The Chinese delivery, suddenly they became, crazy about delivery. But other than that, no. Hey, tonight on the Conan O'Brien show, he has a show. Is it on Yahoo? Where is he now? I don't know where he moved.
I don't even know where he is.
Hulu, probably. Is he on Hulu, Vito? I know Vito collects his bobbleheads. But Conan O'Brien, our own Big J Okerson, is there doing panel. He's not even going to walk out. He's going to walk out the same way a Burt Reynolds would, a Sally Field. You know what I mean? He is that kind of a star now.
That is awesome. It's so exciting.
There's a lot of talk that Big J's moving to Beverly Hills.
Really?
Oh.
Swimming pools, movie stars. Oh, so there you are, Vito. You finally get a fucking second to check in on the show. What are you doing? What happened? Did Roland break a shoelace and you had to run down the...
That's not what happened.
Why can't we count on you?
You can always count on me.
Really?
Always.
What just happened? We said that Conan was on Hulu.
I was confused of who you were talking about. Yeah, Conan's on TBS, 11 p.m.
No, I was talking about Conan the Barbarian. Big J is going to fight Conan the Barbarian tonight with those big curved swords. Get me a curved sword.
What was so confusing about it to you?
I didn't know if you were talking about Jay or Conan, so I was.
What channel?
Conan's doing Jay's show on fucking TBS. It's TBS. You
in
bastard.
hindsight, it's very silly of me to have thought that.
But why would you get further away from the fucking microphone and get small? I saw Jen screaming at you. Get over here.
I said, I'm looking it up. Tell them I'm
looking up Conan.
You
collect his bobbleheads
every night.
Because I was confused, and at first I was typing in Big J, and then I realized it was Conan. So
Can I tell you something?
What did you just say? Big J show?
I want to see his search history.
I am texting, and I don't want this to put pressure on you. Don and Jack, it's a group text. I'm going to put Scott on it, too. And just say... Vito is useless, and then hashtag see Conan story. So Big J, who fucking Vito is trying to steal his thunder right now, Big J is doing panel tonight, and I hope it's something like, Jay, I understand you had a problem with your bags at the airport. You know? Someone told me, who's someone? The fucking guy you did the pre-interview with?
Yes, my
that
producer.
fucking kid? So when Conan says this to you, you say that to him.
Okay, great.
Because they're not
And
going
then
to get
this
any
way,
of that.
Conan can go, so you had an incident with your daughter the other day. Tell us about that.
Well, imagine if my daughter, I'm Conan, imagine if my daughter was lost. I mean, go, ah! You never get that show. I never understand it. Could you see if I was in a movie, I'd be like, ah! What? What are you doing? Jimmy Kimmel's out there doing something with healthcare, and you're screaming, Conan, and just going to different countries every chance you get.
Just sit down.
Yeah, sit
Relax.
the fuck down. We bought you a big studio. Nobody wants to see you in Israel. What's Conan for you? Conan O'Brien. Boston Cones, they used to call him.
What was his nickname?
I don't think it was his nickname. I think it was his actual name. And then he switched it to Conan O'Brien to be in the industry. The industry will not let you have the name Boston Cones. Jen has a dish coming up today, right? And Vito says not Vito. I get these two confused because they look the same.
Other one.
Not that much. Like
Little Vito, Chris Stanley says to me,
Chris Stanley.
This is going to be my favorite dish ever. The biggest story I've ever heard. And I go, don't tell me. I want to find out on the air why Chris Stanley is so excited about a gossip.
I can't
case.
wait to find out which one.
Excitement and shock.
Hey, I got good news for everybody. Jalist is on the show today at 2:00.
He's on my list.
Yeah, that's true. Now, Jalist, I saw him at Gotham. Unbelievable. It was me, Jalist, and everybody who is on the Daily Show now. All the Daily Show
Yeah, correspondence
were just coming out of the wall. But then I went and did Nick's show. He went to the Comedy Cellar. Amy Schumer comes on stage with her, I guess, new best friend, Move Over J-Law, Madonna.
Insane.
Shit.
That's crazy.
Now, from what I hear, everybody thought that she was hilarious, too.
Really?
Yeah. But they might have been just like, I can't believe I'm in a room
Yeah,
with Madonna.
I wouldn't be able to judge that correctly. Because I would be like, I was laughing and smiling and having a great time. But it would be like just the sheer shock of seeing Madonna walk on the stage would have been probably enough.
I was smiling and waving and looking so fine. I don't even think I knew I was in that song. I saw Madonna go from the hot young street girl, right? Like even before the album came out, she was like a buzz. People were, crazy about her, to what she is now, Cher. She is now Cher.
She is.
She will always be a star, whether you like Madonna or dislike Madonna. Cher doesn't have to do a movie or a song for like 20 years and shows up and was like, yeah, Cher's closing the show tonight.
What?
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She is the headliner no matter what. There's certain people, Stevie Wonder's is the same way. Like,
Right.
we're like, Stevie Wonder's here, everyone else sit the fuck down. Ribbon in the sky. What? What are you fucking saying? Why is there a ribbon in the sky? What are you talking about? I mean, I know you're blind. You think there's ribbons in the skies? I think if I was blue, I'd probably just nap more than anything else.
It just kind of
My
feels like
eyes are already closed.
Yes, it's already there.
I'm getting tired. What time is it?
Sleepy.
Yeah, it's 10:30 in the morning, Stevie. Get out of your jammies. I'm trying to think of another person like that who's always the star of the. I guess Sir Paul McCartney
Yes,
is that way.
of course.
You can't get bigger than the last Beatle that everybody was like in all of. No offense, Ringo. You're the fucking funnest guy in the world. And by the way, I've never heard a drummer say a bad thing about Ringo. Only non-drummers.
Yeah, everyone always says he stinks as a drummer.
Unless you're a drummer.
Yeah.
And all drummers are like, oh, that was a signature sound. That was amazing. It was the perfect drummer for that band. And that's not me saying it. Because I don't understand what makes, any of that shit work. Chris, give me a person who's always a star.
See, Bono is always a star.
Yeah, he's still a working star, though. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, they just... do they got a new album coming out?
I don't think so, no.
And they said that the band, that something happened with Bono where there was a thing of mortality. And I don't know. I don't think it was the bike accident. I think something else happened with him that they're not bringing up. And this is kind of, this is a little bit scary news for me. Aerosmith going into South America. And no rock band is ever as big as they are in South America, particularly a hard rock band.
Yeah, they like
just,
it.
They just
obsessed.
They love hard rock and they love metal down there.
And they canceled the tour because he's coming back to have some stuff done.
Well, that makes me nervous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's one of my favorite people on the planet Earth. And that's a lot of people on the planet Earth. I even saw these numbers. I couldn't believe it. There's over 20 million people on Earth.
What?
20 million. Yeah. All different shapes and sizes and colors. They come together and it's a small world. They say that we're going to get more Puerto Ricans moving into New York than all time. That Puerto Rico is in such bad shape that it's making sense for more Puerto Ricans to restart here, or at least spend a couple years here.
Because the rebuilding and resetting everything up there, it's gonna be a long road.
Did you hear Trump talking about yesterday?
I didn't hear him talking. I saw his tweets from yesterday, but I didn't actually hear him.
He explained to us that it was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. He goes, it's not like Texas where you can drive down there. There's an ocean. It surrounds Puerto Rico,
Really?
the Atlantic Ocean. This is another thing I was on with Nick that just proves that we're two fucking assholes together. So the things come in for that Republican runoff that, and it was Bannon and Trump were on different sides. And then Nick is yelling to me, oh my God, the Trump guy won, not the Bannon guy. The Trump guy won. And I was like, geez, nobody saw that coming.
Mm-hmm.
No, we were completely wrong. And I got home and actually read about it. We sat there and screamed out the wrong news.
Fake news. You were fake news.
Now, we got the emergency broadcast thing today, right?
Yes.
I don't think this has ever happened to me before. That came in on my phone this morning.
Really? So it
And I'm
wasn't
like,
just like a regular
No,
alert.
I'm like, what, did Jen send this to me? But the alert is also going to be on my phone.
Weird.
They said to prep us for the nuke attack in a couple of weeks. I'm going to start singing a song that I was singing on the way in, and I'm saving for something. See where I was going with it? It's so stupid. Hey, Paul, you're in Cleveland, home of the Browns.
Hey, Rod Stewart, he still gets them wet.
Rod Stewart, again, I'm going to put him into working star. He always puts out albums.
Yeah.
I'm just always amazed by people who don't even have to do that. You know what I mean?
I would say I'm going to throw in someone like an Aretha Franklin.
Perfect.
Where it's
That's
like
perfect.
she walks in, she's going to be the biggest deal in the room.
Yeah, and if Aretha Franklin says, hey, I want to sing the national anthem. Yeah.
By all means.
No. I have a friend of mine from Baltimore who was in London to see the Ravens get the shit beat out of him by the Jags. And he's done with the Ravens. He's a diehard Raven fan.
Over it.
But because they knelt, he's done with the NFL, and he's done with the Ravens. He's done with Ray Lewis, a guy who literally murdered somebody, and it didn't bother him. But when he knelt down, that did it for him. Do you guys know anybody who said they're done? They're not watching football anymore?
I don't know anyone who said that.
I mean, a lot of people who do that they weren't football fans to begin with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's easy. That would be like me saying, I'm no longer watching the Tony Awards. You know what I mean? I have, but I'm not locked in.
Yeah, I don't know anyone personally who said it. I do know there was like a lady who was burning maybe like a Steelers flag. Maybe I'm forgetting which team it was.
It's Steelers. She
You
was
got
part
it?
of Steelers
Is it up
Nation.
on the iBank?
Yeah, it's up on the iBank.
All right. So here's the thing. The places where people aren't showing up to games is places that, in my opinion, aren't football towns to begin with. If they stop showing up in Boston, New York, Philly, I'll be surprised if Baltimore doesn't. I mean, that's a football town.
Right.
It's a real football town. All right, what's this woman doing?
All right, so this woman is upset at kneeling, and she decides to try to burn her Steelers Nation flag.
Yeah. Don't make a mistake and burn that American flag.
I've been a Steelers fan, but I've been an American longer than that. Mm-hmm. Coach Tomlin, I read what you said, and the fact that you said that people shouldn't have to make a choice. What's the difference between making the choice between stupidity and standing for our American flag? What's the choice between
Why is she talking? Just burn the flag.
and standing for those who fought and died?
I think the burning flag will speak for itself.
Yes.
Today and protect your sorry ass.
Here's the thing. I've been watching a lot of people burning their own, on YouTube because it goes viral every time. And I like to watch people burn clothes. It's always fun for me. But I'm like, how is burning your own clothes?
Yeah.
Why don't you throw your money on that too? Now I would say this. I'm from where I grew up. I'm a fan of the Philly teams. That's not a choice somebody gets to make. It just happens that way. But I don't think I've ever bought. I might have had a Phil's hat before, but I don't think I went to a store and bought it. Somebody would have had to give it to me.
Yeah. Now, she also just ripped her Steelers shirt off like Hulk Hogan to reveal a Trump shirt underneath, which was great.
That is great.
And she just can't light the fucking...
Well, it's leather. You don't light it with a fucking lighter.
Yeah.
You're going to have to put some
That's
fluid
not
on
enough.
She just can't pull it off.
This is not working.
She didn't think it through.
She needs some kindling or something.
844 Rock God, 844 Rock God is the number. I am just personally, I would love to hear from any football fans themselves, football fans who are done with their team and done with the NFL. Because even if your team stinks, right, it's not going to continue to stink. You know what I mean? Like the Giants are 0-3, but next year they could be 3-0. 2-1. Look, the Giants normally get hot at the end of a season. Are you out if your team gets hot? You know?
Well, and I think it is also important to say you have to be a football fan to make this.
You got to be a diehard.
Because that's like when somebody's like gives up something for Lent, they eat like once a year. It's like
you can't give up lima beans for Lent. I tried, believe me. You're giving up candy, mister. You need to anyway. You're giving up candy.
But yeah, if you just watch the Super Bowl and a couple games here and there,
it doesn't count.
But because this was something that was interesting to me when he made the statement, is like, I'm sure there's a lot of crossover between Trump supporter and NFL fan. Where did their allegiance?
No, I would have thought that, particularly when it comes to all this, the right wing and football have been tied in together. Remember when they even tried to put Rush Limbaugh on ESPN? Yeah. He got fired after one day. He just brought up something race. And they're like, and people were like, you know what, dude? We get it, but let us have a day of football. That's what's changed last week. We couldn't have a day of football. Let's go to Jason. Jason, North Carolina.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, yeah, so I'm a 21-year Marine Corps veteran. I'm all about these guys being able to have their First Amendment rights, doing what they want to do. But here's the deal. Half of them don't even know what they're kneeling for. They're just pissed off that the president said something that they didn't like, and now they're all kneeling. You know, this is supposed to be a day where you can escape the politics, you can escape this crap that's going on in the world, and just watch a bunch of overgrown men beat the shit out of each other.
Well, a lot of people feel the same way about the military, but you know what I mean? Like, for the same reason that there are a lot of guys that have never been in the military that love to read military books. You know what I mean? Who love to be like, so they almost have the same kind of fans. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's tons of guys that are into military strategies and shit like that. And you're like, hey, did you ever? No, I never did. I think I would have made a good general. You know what I mean? Just like people think they would have made a good quarterback. So you're done, Jason. You're not going to watch your team anymore.
Yeah, we got rid of the NFL ticket. We got rid of it all.
Wow.
I've got thousands of dollars. Well, I won't say thousands, hundreds of dollars worth of NFL Buffalo Bills stuff. And after watching what McCoy did, I can understand kneeling. That's fine, but you do not disrespect by sitting there stretching out.
Dude, wasn't there a guy in the 80s that did the same thing, that he used to walk around behind the bench during the anthem? It was just because he was a running back. He was a running back. Yeah, I think from the 80s, maybe even have been the 70s.
And was there any reason he did it, or it's just like
nobody ever understood? Like, he just was like an ADD guy, I guess. And you would just see him like getting a drink and stuff during that. It's driving me crazy. If anybody remembers that prize closet, because he was he was like a star running back where they weren't getting rid of him. Here's our buddy Captain Stacy, who sent us some nice kettle corn today. Hey, Captain,
nice.
Are you done with your team?
I have fed up with it. I have absolutely nothing to do with them anymore. I'm ex-law enforcement.
Yeah.
And, okay, it's not as much as the players, it is the employers. It's the teams themselves who dictate what patches you can wear, what kind of shoes you wear, what kind of headphones you wear. But they're going to ignore their employees doing this.
Well, I've said that from the beginning. It is true that there's so many things that you can't do in that league, and this is the beginning. Now, were you a true fan, Captain? A hardcore fan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What team?
I was Pittsburgh, and then when Houston moved to Tennessee, I became a Titan fan because that was the closest thing I had for a local team.
Sure.
And the Titans and the Seahawks, after this past weekend, I have absolutely no respect for. And I have gone as far as all their advertisers.
Yeah.
I went through and said from the customer contact numbers or emails, sent them an email. If you're trying to sell something to me, don't waste your money on the NFL because I won't see your ad.
All right. Thank you very much, Captain.
Hey, are you at the stand tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to do 2 shows there tonight.
I will see you tonight, my friend.
All right. I'll be the guy wearing Steelers gear.
I'll be the guy wearing a great big badge.
All right. See you later, my friend.
See you, bye.
As my pal, Captain Stacy. Done with the NFL. Not going to watch anymore. Steve in Delaware.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
I just wanted to remind you that you know somebody that said they were going to boycott the NFL. Fez.
I've completely forgot this story, but it does make the point.
Oh, shit.
So when they didn't pick up the gay fucking lineman, Fez was done with the NFL. Guess what? He's not. Yeah. That's what I'm saying to people. You could say that you're done with the NFL. I doubt. I mean, you don't know how hard it is to stick with that. The game's on.
I think, did he not watch for the first time at the Super Bowl? Maybe like he had maybe did it for a season.
I don't remember what it was, but you forget. I mean, the Bucs suddenly have some great receivers. They've got a quarterback who, until last weekend, looked like he was coming into his own, and you get excited. That's your team. Right. This is the funny thing: is even if you're mad at the players, they're gone in a couple of years, no matter who they are. You know what I mean? They're just going to be gone. I don't think that you are going to quit forever. Doug in Pittsburgh. Doug.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
I just want to know what you thought of this theory, which was Trump is just petty enough to remember when the NFL stuck it to him as the owner of the New Jersey Generals.
Yeah.
And he never forgot that, and now he's getting back at the NFL for that.
Well, I mean, I don't think so, but because you have to look at this thing. He tried to do something that the old AFL did years before, but that league that he belonged to, was that the USFL?
The USFL, yeah.
Yeah. They didn't have the same impact. They were running a different time of the year and all that, and they weren't strong. And New York already had 2 teams. Yeah. The guys that got in and where you were in a place where there wasn't another team, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you had a team in let's say Oklahoma City, you know what I mean? Maybe you'd have a shot at this, but you can't go direct competition with two other teams in New York.
In all the major markets, it was just a bad idea.
It was a shot. It was a long shot business move. He tried it. There are plenty of people who said he's the reason why that league went out of business, because he was attempting that move instead of supporting the league. Let's go to Austin in Connecticut. Austin.
Hey, it's CT, but my comment was it's easy for somebody in Pittsburgh or Baltimore to give up on their team since they just got beat by some terrible teams. Let's see somebody from Dallas, Pittsburgh. Let's see them burn their flags.
Well, we did see the lady from Pittsburgh, and Dallas and Pittsburgh have this. They have a lot of people that are fans of theirs who quite frankly shouldn't be anyway. You know what I mean? It's not like they grew up there.
I know people born and raised in Brooklyn who are fucking Cowboys
Why
fans.
is that? It's just because they became the popular team at, like, they were good during a time that these people were young, or
yes, it was during all the teams when Monday Night Football started in the 70s. Anybody who was little during that time had the opportunity to pick one of the big teams from that era, and it was always the Steelers. And it was always the Cowboys. Those were, the Steelers were the team of the 7. Oh, and the Raiders are another one.
Yeah.
Holy but they also, the Steelers, because they were a great team. Raiders were a great team with a cool uniform and cool helmet.
Hell yeah.
Cowboys were a great team with a cool uniform and a cool helmet. I just don't believe that football fans, if you're the fan of a team, you might be pissed off. You might be burning your gear, which, by the way, isn't needed. Okay? You don't need to put that stuff on when you're watching TV at home and, quite frankly, going to a game. I've had people say to me, "Where's your jersey?" And I go, I'm not with the team anymore. I had a couple,
You've been cut?
Yeah, they cut me. I mean, I went right down to the last second. Yeah, I don't believe it. I do not believe. Now, this friend of mine who gave up on the Ravens, he's a Ravens guy, though.
Yeah.
He says he's done. He was embarrassed, and he looked distraught when he was telling me.
Yeah, but do you think that it will stick for that person?
I don't know. I mean, people can say that. I'll just say in the case of Fez, it didn't stick. It did not stick.
And he felt very strongly.
Yeah.
At the time.
But, I've known people that, I mean, if you go to their house, it looks like it's the fucking headquarters for you name the team, right? And it's embarrassing. It's like, if you did that with a band or a TV show, what if you went to someone's house and it was just Seinfeld stuff?
Right. You would go on a date with that person and be like, I actually got to go. My friend just texted me.
What's that?
I would not. I mean, I try, and I can't remember the last time there's been a Sunday I didn't watch football. But I tried never to live and die with the team. You know what I mean? Try not to. Because it's an insane thing to do, in my opinion. It's an insane thing to do.
Well, you're more of a football fan than you ever would be a team.
And less of. I used to really enjoy the strategy of football, but now that it's closer to run down, jump, see what happens, it's less exciting to me than when it was a more defensive pushed. But that's, that might be just old man-itis, you know what I mean? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't even own an Atari game, all right?
Oh, no.
I'm not part. I don't have a Walkman. I am not part of the new snowflake millennial generation. Okay. My roller skates have the big fat wheels on the outside. None of this thin line thing.
Inline skating. No.
I don't even understand that, Chris. Dave in Jersey.
Yeah, hi, Ronnie B, big fan. I'm sticking with the watching NFL football. I love NFL, and we don't need any of this stuff. We don't need a guy like Donald Trump. He's put this whole thing in motion that, he's united everybody, even right-wing people like Robert Kraft. They're all lining up against him, and they supported him. And if Hillary had become president, conservative Republicans, they wouldn't be complaining about this stuff at all. They'd just be watching the game like they always have. And I don't know. They just find something to whine about and complain about all the time. I don't know what else to say.
All right, man. I don't know if that's true. I think people would be. I think a majority of the people do not like kneeling during the game. Now, when I was growing up and going to Phillies, Eagles games, Sixers, the crowd used to sing. This sounds crazy for me to say. The anthem so loud that they would drown out, right? Who was ever singing. So I got into hey, this is the time for us all to sing as loud as we can. It's really fun.
Treat it like a bar song.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We treated it like an Irish bar song. And I don't even see as many people doing that. I remember my Uncle Ray was the one who started being furious when people would go, oh!
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, that's disrespectful and shit. I'm like, yeah.
I don't think it is. Right?
I think it's real disrespectful. I don't think it's a great song. I think we could do much better. I think it's time to modernize the song. I don't think people sing that way. Maybe when the song got written, that's the way people sang.
Which is probably why they started with the big O. It's like they're trying to make it like the sweet Caroline ba-ba-da. Like they just want to have their...
So you're right about that. And it is annoying. I don't even like when people shoot off fireworks during it. You know what I mean? The rockets spray glare, they shoot. Then people cheer in the middle of it. I'm like, this is supposed to be... Yeah. But, I never quit. I never quit because of that. Kevin, what's up?
Man, I have to let the Falcons go.
You're done with the Falcons?
They let go. Oh, yeah, they let go of Michael Vick. I mean, what are we supposed to do for a quarterback?
All right. There's a reason for screening, screening. Tyler, Kansas.
Yeah, I was just to add to a couple of comments. The Marine vet from North Carolina that was on earlier, to the point of they don't even know what they're boycotting or what the players what are they protesting now? Are we protesting that the president of the United States had to come out and tell the American people that it was wrong or that it's disrespectful to kneel? I mean, should he have even had to come out and say that to begin with? And why are people, getting in such a twit about the president?
Well, here's what I think happened in the case of that. It's not that even Trump said that. I think it would have been fine. But when he said that son of a bitch should be fired and then suspend, I don't want, don't go to the games and don't.
And the boycott after that.
That kind of thing pissed off the owners, coaches, and players in the same way as if he told people, don't listen to satellite radio, don't buy their product. People would be pissed and they would forget the initial thing. So Trump did kind of at least escalate this thing. I think it would have been fine for him to say, hey, I find it to be very disrespectful. And people would have, I think, across the board agreed with him. But there ended up being, 10 times more people kneeling?
Yeah, over 200 players.
Yeah, over 200.
Well,
and before that, there was 5,
like
8?
A couple teams.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what I was getting. And to add to another guy's point, I've been a Cowboys fan for 25 years, and I turned it off. I'm done.
Wow.
And it's not necessarily all the Cowboys. It's the whole. This whole thing is just. It's just enough. You're just sick of it. But
now you're going to be able to stick with it, dude. You're going to be able. 2 years from now, you're going to tell me you don't watch football. 5 years from now.
Yeah, but here's the other thing. Like you had mentioned earlier about the game changing. I think there's a few things. The game is not as interesting as it was 10 or 15 years ago. You've got the CBA coming up in 2020. NFL. With all the things going on and how the game has changed and all the issues that they're dealing with now, the NFL could be, it could be NHL. It could be like the hockey. Professional hockey, just irrelevant.
I don't disagree with that, but I think it'll take decades and decades and decades. I don't see that being an overnight thing.
No.
Now I did see the movie The Last Boy Scout, so I know that at a certain point. I mean, I'm going to tell you all the things I think that have hurt the NFL. Number one, seeing guys that get their brains knocked out, seeing them get older, particularly when you grew up with some of these players and see them that's a rough thing. And that's kind of also what happened to boxing. 2, fantasy football hurt the team aspect of the game.
100%.
Hurt the team aspect
because people are just playing for
their own players, then they'll end up. If you could be a Cowboys fan, have a couple of those of the other fantasy guys on your team, and be rooting against, or at least partially rooting against your own team. So it stopped being a team thing. I think Red Zone has hurt the game as well because you're just looking for big action moments rather than the game itself. You know what I mean? So the game now feels slower than it did before because you're watching what used to be the Monday night halftime show of just the scores in real time, and it takes you out of the game.
The only defense you're watching is a pick six. That's the only reason they'll show defensive play, really.
Well, you don't know. Well, you're watching just goal. You're watching red zone play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're watching red zone play. So, I mean, even the highlights, people want the highlights as they're happening, which is a very bizarre thing. So I think those three things, and the fact that there's so much more entertainment to do. You know what I mean? There's just massively more entertainment to watch and play yourself. And
yes, and our attention span for something that isn't holding our attention is really, really short. Like, we only have X amount of time.
It's weird.
But we're like, so people who love the shows that they love can binge watch them for 6 hours at a time.
Yeah.
But if you're reading an article and it starts to get dull, if you're watching a news report, it starts to get dull. Like, whatever that thing is. And I think sports is absolutely a victim to just the way we are changing.
Look, I'm not a kid, right? So I didn't grow up doing other things at the same time. The other night, I'm watching the Cowboys-Cards game, and during commercials, I'm flipping over and playing my Madden game, right? Mm-hmm. Which, it's a new game. I'm getting better and better at it.
Nice.
I think I'm going to end up going to the Super Bowl within the next 3 to 4 seasons. Okay? And those seasons take place fast because I'm trying to play all the time. Now, I got the Cowboys game on, and I start fucking using my fucking thing, my game, because I thought it was, I couldn't tell the difference between
God.
Madden, and I literally thought, and I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't grow up that way. I can't imagine if you do. I can't imagine if you were a kid. Here's Martin. Martin, what's up?
Yeah, hey, the thing that I was realizing the other night is there were no protests in the first game or the second games of the first week or second week of the season. There was no protests happening.
I think there might have been a player here and there, right, Chris?
Yeah, there was a couple of guys scattered around the league.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was happening. But the thing that makes me alert is, what is Trump going to make us do next time? This time he made us kneel for the flag. What's going to happen next? He tried this in the spring where he was saying he was against flag burning, but nobody bought into it and started burning flags. This time it worked. What's the next thing that he'll make us do?
There is no doubt. There's no doubt that even if you're... But, I heard something really interesting from Nick last night, right? He said if they got rid of Trump tomorrow, Trump did everything that he wanted him to do, he will consider Trump to be a success because he fucked things up. There's a lot of people who are like so mad at whatever it is out there that they're just glad. Here's what I'm going to say. There's a lot of people who are out on their boat and they just watched Bob Wiley blow up the house that they wanted. You know what I mean?
Burn in hell, Dr. Marvin!
And that's how, that's literally how people feel. And they got there by, some... Sure. But, it was a slow grind to get there. There's no doubt about it.
That if I can't have the country that I want, then let's just fuck this whole thing.
Yeah.
Have you seen that George Clooney has written a poem about this entire situation, about the tensions in America right now, and he sent it to the Daily Beast?
Well, all right, let me just say, I'm going to just say this. No, I don't know. But I know this for a fact. A poem has never helped anything at any time. Ever. All right, so now I want to hear the Clooney.
All right, this is George Clooney's...
Read it good, too. You know what I mean? Really put some...
Like you're George Clooney.
Yeah, like the way he wants it to be performed.
This is the prayer for our country.
Is it a long poem?
10 lines.
Ugh, that's more than I like. I like a limerick. I like a limerick.
Yeah.
And I know where the rhymes come in, so I get excited.
Prayer for Our Country by George Clooney. I pray for my country. I pray that we can find more that unites us than divides us. I pray that our nation's leaders want us to do the same. I pray that young children like Tamir Rice can feel safe in their own neighborhood. I pray for all our children. I pray for our police and our first responders. I pray for our men and women of the armed services. I pray that dissent will always be protected in this great country. I pray for a more perfect union. And when I pray, I kneel.
The dissent will always be protected?
Dissent will always be protected.
Oh, dissent. I thought he said dissent.
Dissent, yeah.
Dissent. All right. First of all, it sounded like a Catholic prayer.
It did.
It was very much of a Catholic prayer.
Pray for our sinner.
All right, thanks, George Clooney.
Did you like the twist at the end, though? When I pray, I kneel. It's a twist.
I know. I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming. That's good. He just got a text from Brad Pitt that starts with F and ends with T. Mike in Iowa. Mike.
Hi, Ron. Love the show.
Yeah, it's good.
I got the running back that you were talking about that walked around during the national anthem was Dwayne Thomas.
Thank you very much, Dwayne Thomas. You're going into the pretty good prize closet, my friend.
Yeah.
All right.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Noah, Florida.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's going on, guys?
I found out that in 2009, actually, the NFL got paid by the Department of Defense to have players stand on the side of the field during the national anthem. Because before 2009, the teams did stay in the locker room. The Department of Defense paid the Football League $5.4 million between 2011 and 2014, and the National Guard paid $6.7 million.
Let's hold on for a second. There's no way. I'm sure that I remember. Guys,
what year is
2009? Right?
Yeah,
2009 is when it started. 100%.
I know. I saw that you would see players standing. I know it.
Before 2009, they weren't required to. The practice of paid patriotism started. The National Guard paid $6.7 million between 2013 and 2015 to stage on-field patriotic ceremonies as part of a military recruitment budget line item.
No, I know I know that the military has been paying, and I know that the NFL, and they have to take responsibility for this, right? They have been wrapping themselves in the flag and the military for a long time.
Yeah.
And if you remember when Pat Tillman was killed back in the early 2000s, they were all like, the hero Pat Tillman, blah, blah, blah. And then when they found out that he got killed by friendly fire, nobody updated that. Nobody said, hey, you know what I mean? There was no kind of bad press about how could something like this go wrong. People just, quite frankly, were not as interested as you would have expected in that story if he was, the guy. Pat Tillman's family said the other day when Trump retweeted some, Pat Tillman, said, please don't politicize Pat. He wouldn't have liked it. He wasn't a political guy himself. He was a patriot, obviously. But if you go and read that book, he wasn't crazy about where the war was going, which happens almost with every military guy that's ever lived. There was going like, hey, I signed it for one thing, something else has happened, and then they don't, of course, let you quit. But again, do we get outside of this the conversation? I just think it's going to be, to me, it's like, have you ever said something like, I'm done with potato chips, I'm not going to eat potato chips, and then you're going to watch football again. It's almost impossible in this country, if you're a sports fan, not to watch football. It seems to be easier for the nerds of the world.
I wonder, though, if we will ever, how long it will take to take politics out of football. Like, how long will this feeling last where politics, taking a stand about something that is important to you on a national platform, how long will it take for that to wear off? Because that probably will as well, just as much as people will return to it.
The only way not to is take patriotism or kind of force patriotism out of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, maybe. But I always think that football fans are going to be right-wing people.
Right.
The fact that, well, let's suppose this, you're the owner in the league, right? Mm-hmm. You're serving two types, right? You've got your right-wing fan, and you've got a 70% black team. No matter where you're at, 70% of your guys are black. And they're saying, hey, there's this race problem we want to deal with. So what would you do if you were an owner? Everybody would like to say, hey, the owner should do this. They're all partners. For all these billionaires who are, into this, they divide this thing up like they're a communist.
Right.
They just divide up the money. And they're saying to people, there's a cap on how much you can make. Imagine if Bernie Sanders says, hey, there's a cap on how much money you can make in the United States. And we'll put it at, $150 million a year. People would go crazy.
Right.
And yet they accept the cap that's on these players in every sport. Less so in baseball, if we're going to be totally honest. I don't think the football fans are going to stay away from football. It's just too hard to do. And I think a lot of people say it, but do they really know what that's going to entail? DirecTV is offered to refund and cancel Sunday ticket packages. Have they always, though? I mean, could you always cancel your Sunday ticket package, or would they say, no, you're in all time?
You already said you love it.
You said you want it. You got it. I'm pissed about anything. Why the cable companies don't get the same fucking deal? That infuriates me.
It's ridiculous.
They only make this thing with satellite companies, with Dish. They're the only one that has that package.
Wow. And the cable companies don't have any access to that?
No, you'd be watching it.
Right.
Jack would turn around and bought that package and had a comfortable Sunday for the rest of the year. And before I moved to New York, I had Dish.
Yeah.
For that reason. Yeah. That reason and that reason alone. Hey, I can get all the games. And I'm saying that in, March. Like, this will be fucking great. I'm going to have all the games. I'm going to be the best person that ever lived. And I'm like, come to my house, man. Come to my house. Everything's great over there. Ooh. Tim, Oklahoma City. What's happening, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you?
Cool, man.
I just wanted to comment on the fact that the ability to kneel and the ability to do this stuff is actually a very American thing. And it is patriotic and American to have civil dissent. And I don't know why people, you might not like it, but the ability to do it is a good thing. We want that.
It normally comes down to if you agree with the political side of it. You know what I mean? It's kind of that simple. I never liked people that were hassling young girls in front of an abortion clinic, but they had the right to do that. To me, it seemed sick.
Yeah.
To them, my thought of let these girls make their own choices seems sick. So, there's always a lot of that. But for you in Oklahoma City, you now have Carmelo Anthony as your basketball star.
Yeah.
You guys going all the way with him? No.
No.
No, it's not going to happen.
Carmelo's a loser.
Thanks for happening. Well, how bad will you feel if he turns, if you see him?
Fucking J.R. Smith got a goddamn ring with LeBron. So if he gets one with Westbrook, it's just good. Then I'm glad. Fuck the Knicks.
Oh, okay. You're never watching the Knicks anymore. See, it's the same stuff.
Yep.
That's the same stuff that we're talking about. He's now done with the Knicks. Vito's done with Conan O'Brien after being a big.
God,
Big J's going to be on there tonight, and I'm going to be watching. Big J's doing panel. Chris claims, and I told him not to tell me, that this is his favorite gossip story of all time. We'll be right back. Bennington.
Your headphones, Jen's got the news. Let's dish to the gossip they're saying on the radio.
Boom. Look at Jen dancing in here to dish for everybody.
Oh, she was such a good dancer.
The Let's Dish segment is brought to you by Dish. Dish listens when no one else does. Dish tuned into you. To learn more and sign up today, call 1-844-CALL-DISH. Go to dish.com or visit a local retailer near you.
Oh, I'm going to dish.
It's Dish.
Dish. Tell Dish I'm keeping my football package.
Well, this is the big story that, Chris was excited about.
Okay, this is his favorite dish of all time. We don't know what the dish is.
And the most shocking to me, personally.
Most delicious dish.
Yeah.
Well, the Ain't It Cool news founder, Harry Knowles, has been accused of sexual assault.
What?
Yeah.
by a number of women.
What? I am blown away with this. I thought you couldn't get out of a wheelchair.
Me too. I've seen him in scooters and in wheelchairs. The entire 8 pictures I've ever seen of him.
To let people know,
wow,
Harry Knowles was, when the internet started, or when regular people were getting on the internet, this was the first site I ever went to, was ain'titcoolnews.com.
And you were a fan. Like, this is like, people following bloggers or people following...
Yeah, there was nothing else to be a fan of on there, and I knew how to find it. And I remember I had to write it down from reading a Rolling Stone, and, like, write it down and then type it in. There wasn't, like, a search engine at all at the time. And when I got it, I was like, oh, man, I'm literally on the internet now. This is literally outside of the package of what I bought. And I'm out there, baby. And Harry, and he was a kid at the time, and he would release screenplays before they were done.
Right.
He'd have spies, and Hollywood was going nuts. And literally said, like, what do we got to do? We'll bring you in, we'll give you stuff, but just stop this. So he was always an overweight kid, but then he got really bad, and he went into, like we said, the hospital and stuff like that. Now, what he's doing, and this is crazy to me.
Shocking.
So it happened, I guess, over 2 decades ago. A woman named Jasmine Baker said that he sexually assaulted her at the Alamo Draft House event. I guess she's saying that he rubbed against her buttocks, and then when she confronted him about it, the second time he did it, because she thought the first time, maybe he just did it by accident. Second time he did it, she confronted him, and he just giggled about it after.
So he was... Look, there's Anne Heche and Dawn, and she's looked like she's very animated. Here's how I am. When I heard Anne Heche was in the building, I thought it was Anne Hathaway that was in the building.
Oh, really?
I get them confused.
Ooh.
Not that they look alike or have a similar career.
It's the Anne
but
H.
when I get into Anne H, I'm just like, oh yeah,
Sure.
Anne Hathaway. I could never, I would never bring that up.
So there's only one...
So she was
One
the first
woman.
accuser, and then after she spoke up, which is the reason why she's speaking up, just so other women could come forward, and other women have came forward, and he
was always grinding on people in crowds. That was his thing.
Was that always like a groping or a grinding?
She's saying that she was groped opportunistically on more than one occasion.
And apparently he reached his hand underneath his shirt and grabbed a breast as well. These are the reports.
And this is all decades ago, before he was...
It was right around the start of Ain't It Cool News, and when he started doing like the Button-Umathon, like his Alamo Draft House movie festivals. That's when this happened. Apparently, it happened over a few years. The same woman,
right? But here's the... It's always weird when it's 2 decades ago. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a grind.
Yeah.
She
said that she did talk to, I believe, the people at the Alamo Draft House.
Oh, the poor Alamo is back in this again. They just had this other guy.
Oh, God. And they just said, just ignore it.
Wow.
And avoid him.
Avoid him.
Unbelievable.
It should be easy to stay 5 to 6 feet away from him at all times, though. I mean,
you got to be quick with him.
Yeah.
But not too quick.
Outrunning his guy was always an easy thing to do.
Now, wasn't there something about emails, or he had sent an email to someone,
pics.
or?
I know, he was emailing some of the women, and then he was also talking with the Draft House people too.
He was?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
What do you mean he was talking to them about what?
Because he's tied in so closely with the Alamo Draft House.
Yeah, but you're not making sense what you're saying. We were saying, what did he do? Not
what sexual accusations.
Yeah.
I thought maybe there was something like he had emailed a woman something inappropriate too, which is why there was proof. Has he responded about any of this?
He stepped down from Ain't It Cool News. He's having a sister run it right now.
Wow.
So that's kind of a
why didn't you have the captain, what's his name, run it? I haven't really been there.
Moriarty?
Yeah, Moriarty is another one. Those guys were like the first famous internet guys.
Yeah.
And he stepped down from a website, which is the easiest thing you can ever do. That's up there with not watching the NFL anymore. I gotta tell you the truth, Chris. As a juicy story, it's not that juicy. It's old and stupid. And
I think it's shocking.
Quite frankly, massively overweight. I think we might have talked to him on the phone once. I can't remember, like something he was promoting many, many years ago. And I was weirded out by how high his voice was.
He has a very high voice.
Really? I've never heard him speak. I've only read his words and seen pictures of him. But I would not have pictures I got to have a high voice.
Yeah. Well, he was the the beginning of people on the internet writing like my balls exploded with joy. You know, when people started to do stuff like that, and people copied that weird shit. But his stuff was like, let's say back then, if he was going to do a review of Pulp Fiction, right? It would start with him waking up, where he went to breakfast. You know what I mean? Like, way into this, you'd finally get to the movie started, and then his balls exploded with joy.
2,000 words later.
I remember everybody, the thing that kind of killed him was Godzilla, because his balls exploded with joy at Godzilla. Trump just said the NFL is a really bad box.
What do you mean, box? Like, vagina?
I don't know. I don't know what that means. I don't know why they would even put that up.
NFL must change or it will go to hell.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
What?
NFL will change or it will go to hell. How's he going to send the whole league?
I'm telling you, he's done something new with his hair. It's much softer than it used to be.
It's got to be like a new treatment.
Like a new conditioner, yeah. Because I guess he stopped hairspraying as much.
Yeah, it does. It does have a little bit more movement. You know, sometimes it could be kind of helmety.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Does seem like it could move with the wind a little bit there. Natural.
Like when you have to walk and you know you're being watched, and you're like, shit. It's a tough thing. Hey, it looks sad. He's all by himself too. There's nobody with him. I always like when there's somebody walking with the president. You know?
Solo.
He's lonely these days.
Well, I guess Barron is back in school. He's got a new school in Georgetown, I imagine, something like that. We had, I think, 4 Secret Service agents in here the other day for Hillary. They didn't seem that intense, though.
No,
I guess they're only really intense for the president.
Yeah, they were a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
Not that I would test them.
No, don't test them. Do not test those dudes. All right, is that it for Dish today?
We have a lot more stories, actually. Well, Deborah Messing, she's saying that she regrets her interview with Megyn Kelly because when she did her interview, she first of all didn't know that it was even going to be with Megyn Kelly because they just, when stars come in, they just tell them on their itinerary, oh, it's a Today Show appearance. So she didn't know it was going to be with her. So then Megyn Kelly brought up a fan for a meet and greet and said, is it true you became a lawyer and gay because of Will? And Will and Grace. And
now,
then,
Megyn Kelly said that?
Yeah,
or
Megyn
the fan
Kelly,
said it?
No, Megyn Kelly said it to the fan. And then she said, I don't know about the law, I don't know about the lawyer, but the Will and Grace, but the Will and Grace, being gay and a lawyer, I guess is, why he became a lawyer. It was very strange.
I didn't know that Megyn Kelly was doing her show already.
Yeah, I didn't realize either.
Just started this week.
Okay. Now, already, Deborah Messing said I made a mistake going on the Today Show. Yeah, because if you don't get on before 9, you know what I mean? That's not really the Today Show. These post-Today shows are not the Today Show. They're just afraid to name things what they are. It's the Megyn Kelly Show, and then it's the Hoda and, I'm going to guess Hillary, but I don't know that lady's name, show after that.
Hoda, I forget.
I don't know who's after that.
Yeah, it's Hoda and the Regis and Kathy Lee.
Kathy,
yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Well, the big news over the weekend was Kylie Jenner they're saying she's allegedly pregnant with Travis Scott's baby. And then yesterday, the big news was that Khloe Kardashian is now pregnant.
Same father?
So now we have 3 Kardashian Jenner babies on the way at the same exact time.
Time for a new TV show.
This is just them casting right
yes,
now. That's
they're
what's
casting.
happening.
No, yeah.
And
they each hope that they're going to have a transvestite. Wait, that's the wrong word to use. Transgender.
Yeah.
So correct. word to use, transgender.
Yeah, and they think that the reason that they're not confirming the 2 pregnancies is that they're waiting to drop the news on the show, which I think is this Sunday maybe, or Sunday coming up soon.
Every show's on a Sunday.
Yeah. Well, like the last Sunday was a 10-year reunion, so they did a whole special with them. But yeah, they didn't talk anything about, Kylie being pregnant. And then everyone's waiting for Kylie to come out and say, I'm not pregnant, but she hasn't said anything. She's wearing these like baggy t-shirts.
She keeps everybody talking. That's their job. Their job is to keep people talking. They ought to burn Steelers stuff while they're kneeling, just to try to get 100% of the people on their side.
I hear a lot of people are calling it the new generation.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Well, another kind of Kardashian, Scott Disick, and Sophia Richie have come out officially as a couple over the weekend.
I don't know who Sophia Richie is.
Sophia Richie is the 19-year. She's Lionel Richie's youngest daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, let me see her. Because I know
You've seen her before, I think.
But I have
very
to see things over and over. Well, she's gorgeous.
Yeah. The weird thing is, I think she looks like Chloe.
Yeah.
She looks a lot like Chloe. Yeah, and the lips. Yeah.
And didn't Scott and Chloe have a little love for each other? Like a little, they were buddies, right?
Yeah, they buddied around, and I feel like they were always like negging each other.
Yeah.
And teasing.
I don't
But
know.
she looks like a tiny Chloe
She's
to me.
gorgeous, though.
Yeah, she does. Oh, that's so weird. She does look like a little Chloe. But it's really weird because she's 19, he's 38. So
I think it works.
And the weird part is, Courtney, his baby mama, I guess, is dating a young guy like her too. He's 19, and they're best friends.
Well, they could take them to Disney
Oh my
together.
God, that would
They
be
could all
so
take the
cute.
kids out. And no drinking for you two.
Where are our dates? They're in the ball pit.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous.
What are you
though.
doing, Chris?
Yeah, he's zooming in on parts of her
You're
body.
disgusting.
It's
man.
really
You're
strange.
Fucking the Harry Knowles of the show.
He just zoomed in. For now.
And then another big dish over the weekend was Wendy Williams. Her husband, it came out that her husband's been cheating on her for the last 10 years with a mistress, and that he bought a house close to him and Wendy's for the mistress.
Oh, and Wendy's not dealing with this, though, right?
She's talked about it. She said that, they came into work together. They're like a happy couple, like acting as if nothing's wrong. When we all know something's wrong.
Okay. You used to love Wendy Williams, and then you turned on her.
Yeah, I'm not a Wendy fan.
What happened?
Well, I was working at the iHeart radio station, and I was a part-timer at the time.
Yeah.
Me and my other coworker, we asked her for a picture when she was done with taking pictures with the host, and we came up to her like, hey, can we get a picture with you? Everyone said it was okay, but she just turned around, gave us like an attitude saying, oh, are you guys interns? And we're like, no, we work here. She's like, oh, because when I was an intern, you weren't allowed to come up and ask the host for pictures. So she takes a picture.
We got a different policy. All right? How about that? You own this place now, Wendy Williams?
Your grandmother wasn't allowed to go through the front door. Things change.
And I just told you I wasn't an intern, Wendy Williams.
Oh, by the way, an intern is a human being. You know what I mean? Let's stop acting like
an intern.
Yeah. I get it. We're allowed to shoot them with paintball stuff and all that, but they're getting experience out of it.
I like when anyone has a personal experience is why they don't like a celebrity. Like,
yeah, me too. I
Wendy
love that.
Williams.
I fucking love that. Well, Chris has one that is stuck with me that nobody hates but Chris.
Mr. Andy Richter. I was walking on 47th Street between 9th and 10th. Was walking by. First of all, he's much taller than I thought he would be. I walked by him. I must have been like, I don't know, 19 years old. Going to a Brian fan. Like, hey, Andy Richter, man, how's it going? And then he just looks at me in disgust, doesn't acknowledge what I said, and just fucking turns around and just doesn't talk to me. Doesn't say hello, doesn't say thank you, doesn't say a goddamn thing.
And you have stayed furious with him ever since.
Yeah, you treat me like a piece of shit.
Now, I just want you to say exactly the way that you said it to him, right?
Hey, how's it going, Andy Richter?
No, you did it completely different. You were so excited.
You were like a little kid.
Oh, hey, Andy Richter, how's it going?
Guess what? It's literally the way I met Chris Stanley. I was walking down the street. And he'd said almost the same thing to me, and then asked me if I wanted to come into this beer bust. That was happening.
At Hunter College, there was a bunch of beer. It was free from the Student Association. Hey, Ronnie B, how's it going?
Literally what he did.
Dude,
like out of the fucking shadows.
Now, how weird is this? So this goes to show you just like a little change, like a butterfly effect.
Right.
That if you had an Andy Richter personality.
Hate me.
And it's just like he would have hated you. You wouldn't have connected. You wouldn't have offered him the gig. Your whole entire life would be different. Your life would be different. My life would be different. Really weird.
Look, here's the very strange thing where I could have reacted poorly. I was literally walking from the hospital because it was Fez's first heart attack, right? And I think he was of the mindset of we've got to keep this quiet.
Right.
And maybe even I felt the same way of, don't show any weakness. We got this new gig, because we really were just back in New York. I mean, that night changed everything. And then that's the night I meet this fucking jinx, right? But like my mind was literally, not like this is surreal. This is terrible. What does a heart attack mean? I had no, this was the first time something like that came up. And then he jumps out, literally says the same thing he did to Andy Richter, and then says, there's a bunch of beer in here if you want to come in and drink with us. And I'm like, no, man, but thanks. I appreciate it.
And then I believe I asked, when's the next bar gig? I'm such an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm such a drunk jerk off.
Yeah. Well, you haven't changed. That's the beauty of you. And that would have been your Andy Richter.
Yeah.
Now, Vito, I take it that you are an Andy Richter fan, right?
Yeah, I love Andy Richter as much as Conan.
But knowing that he did this to Chris, does that change you at all?
No, I mean, Chris is kind of a abrasive person, so I'm totally an Andy Richter side.
I wasn't being abrasive. I was being friendly and a fan of the man, and that he just treats me like human fucking garbage.
I've known this I had a friend who, when they were kids, they asked the ball player Joe Morgan and he was with his dad, and they were a big Cincinnati fan. They were Ohio people, right? So they see Joe Morgan, the all-time, Hall of Famer, second baseman for the Big Red Machine. They said, Joe Morgan, big fan, can we get a thing? And he kept talking. He just kept walking. He wanted no part of it. And then this guy saw his dad turn crazy and start yelling. Mm-hmm. So he started yelling too, backing his dad up. And then years later, they still hate him. And I'm like, he was your favorite player. One thing, he doesn't give you something. Yeah. He gives you all this excitement. You get World Series when you're a little kid. But that thing makes you nuts. You became nuts now because Joe Morgan acted better than you, and quite frankly, he is.
I had a bad experience with someone who I was a huge fan of, that I don't let it ruin my experience, and I will never say it on the air because I would hope that this person will come on someday,
And then maybe they had a bad day the day that you met him.
Totally. Maybe it was a pretty bad experience, and I was like, this is heartbreaking for me because I definitely approached it like, I am such a huge fan. I'm so excited you're here to see you perform. I was so excited, and it was like pure disgust, dismissal.
Write it down for me. So I see that you don't want to do it.
I know, because I hope that we will have this person on the show.
I think I know who it is.
Do you?
In a band?
No. This is a person who would be of the world of comedy, TV.
Yeah, but I will tell you this. That guy is, he's a Rain Man.
Yes, exactly.
And a lot of performers are, and I get to do that from interviewing people. A lot of them are not regular people.
I will say that what I like about this person is his weird sense of humor and bizarre ways and the way his mind works in a unique way. So I can't go, you didn't act normal. You didn't act normal in a social situation.
Here's the thing, though. He just made like a normal movie, his first one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's odd. Mm-hmm. Are you pretending you get that now? Or what just happened?
What is the reason for that?
How about you, Vito? You ever have a bad thing? Who's your Wendy Williams?
Well, so when I was a kid, baseball player Moises Alou.
What?
Baseball player Moises Alou was coming out of a parking lot, and I was waiting as a kid to meet him. Yeah. And you used to get autographs signed on their way out.
Right.
So I went to get an autograph signed. I handed him the baseball and the pen, and he starts flipping out on me, going, "How dare you not have this fucking pen opened if you're going to have me sign an autograph?"
Was he joking or did he?
No, he was really mad. He was.
Now, let me tell you something about Moises. This is a man that Vito looked up to who used to urinate on his own hands.
What?
He would urinate on his own hands to keep them soft or to harden them.
To help him catch. It was to help him catch balls. I
thought it was because he didn't use gloves, batting gloves.
I thought it was for catching, but it makes more sense for batting gloves because you're using a mitt.
So I mean, you already love a guy who pisses on his own hands on purpose and washes his hands in it.
Oh God.
He was just so mean. He yelled at me, "If you're not going to be ready, why should I even do this?" And then he handed me back the pen and said, "Open it for me."
He's from another country. He doesn't know how to open pens like we do.
I'm on Moises' side.
I tell you the truth, I don't know why any kid would like Moises Alou. Also, I mean, when I was a kid, just seeing a ball player was the thing. To interact, that would have been too much for me. My head would have exploded. My head would have exploded. I saw the fat guy that used to call Flyers game, and I was just like, I don't know even where to put this. And he was the color. He's the play-by-play guy for the Flyers at the time, and it just seemed like too much that I was in a shared space as he was walking out to his car.
How is he real?
That's like when I was a kid meeting wrestlers was like that because I was like, well, that is a superhero. And now this superhero is real and in person.
Yes. Brandon, what's up?
Hey, so longtime fan, but we had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Actually, he coached a team out on the Hopi Reservation. It was probably, I'd say, 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know what his motivation was to do it, but when he came to Holbrook with his team to play our team, we were all standing around and we're like, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is actually coming to Holbrook, Arizona, a town of 5,000 people. So many people were in love with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he completely snubbed every single person for a picture, an autograph. He walked all by us, just walked in, played the game, and walked right out and gave everybody, the cold shoulder.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you just said, he came there, right?
Yeah.
When most people would never do that. And to him, it's about basketball and nothing else. He's not an overly social guy. Now, I've had him on the show a couple of times. Every time I brace myself because other people have told me the interview went mad, he hated the interviewer. I find him to be, from a historical point of view, like one of the most intelligent, interesting people I've ever met. Like, he will study a time period. His stuff on jazz is phenomenal. His interest and knowledge of Harlem and the change, and when Harlem was at its peak, he's a phenomenally interesting guy. He's not a regular guy, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
In any way. And part of that might be because he's 7'2", and wherever he goes, people are...
Yeah.
he never even needed to play basketball, and he would have drawn crowds. That's got to be strange. Here's Matt in O-Town. Matt, what's up? Matt in Orlando, we got you? All right. Let's go to another Matt, Boston.
Hey,
Matt.
Ronnie B, how you doing?
Hey, pal.
So, all right, I grew up in New York, right? I was a huge Magic fan, so I used to go to Tannen's Magic Shop. You ever hear of it?
Yes.
All right, so a guy by the name of Bob Elliott was the guy that owned and ran it. And he had a weekend out in the Catskills where you could go and it's a magic trade show, basically. You could see all kinds of tricks and all that stuff. David Copperfield is a buddy of his. So they're having dinner at the Jubilee. I walk up to the table with a pen and paper in hand, and I said, "Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I get your autograph?" And then I turned to Bob Elliott, and I made him sign it.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious, though. Ralph, Queens.
Yeah, how you doing? Great show, guys.
Thanks,
when we were teenagers, me and my cousin, my uncle took us to an AHL game. We were huge hockey fans, and Gordie Howe was playing for the Whalers, and we were watching warm-ups right at the glass. He comes skating towards us, and we're banging. I was like, hey, Gordie. He goes like, fuck you, boys.
I kind of got something similar with Showboat and Pete Rose when I was a kid, but me and my friends loved it.
He like gave you shit and you guys were happy about it?
Well, we were riding the hell out of him. We were riding him pre-game. There was no, we were just, I forget, we were like little leaguers, right? And I think we were like yelling hot dog. It wasn't even like, dirty names. And finally, and he's doing sprints back and forth. And finally, and the debate went up years later, whether he gave us the finger or the old fist, like shove it up your ass.
Up yours, yeah.
I believe it to be the finger. Other people says he gave us the old up your ass. But thrilled. Just
yeah.
fucking blown away. Like literally felt like I was making eye contact with Showboat and Pete. I was crazy about him. But that's I mean, why react negative? Like, what if Chris would just say funniest shit ever?
Right.
He would feel better about it.
I've been stubbed by other celebrities as well in the streets of New York. Bobby Flay, he stubbed me twice. I ran into him twice.
He didn't stub you. He snubbed you.
Stubbed me.
He did not stub you.
He snubbed me.
There you go.
Twice. In the span of a month. I saw him downtown.
Why are you yelling at a man who's a cook?
What are you
on
saying
television.
to him?
That's the funny thing. He's on television.
Constantly.
I know. So what do you want from him?
Do you want him to make you something?
Why?
So just
Make me a sandwich,
because I'm a
she
fan.
said.
I was a fan of his. And I was like, hey, Bobby Flay, love you on the Food Network. He just walks by me. He just fucking doesn't even.
Now, by the way, if he would have said thanks, pal, you're fine, right?
Yeah, then I'm fine. Yeah.
Then you're fine.
Yeah, I'm
What
fine.
if he was up in his head? He was thinking about his next meal.
Twice in a month I saw him. And both times he snubbed me. So that's the way. That's just what he does.
Maybe he was just thinking beans.
And then another one when I was 19.
Got stubbed again?
Yeah, I got snubbed by Christina Ricci in the street. She was walking.
I love her.
She was walking down the block.
Did you call her Richie? Because her last name's Ricci. That could be why.
Hey, Richie.
Hey, Richie.
Hey, Richie. Just walks right by me. Doesn't even fucking.
So you don't even get shit from people. They just
ignore me. They're like weird.
You're hard to understand.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something? Them ignoring you for yelling stuff is the way I ignore fucking homeless people for yelling stuff. I just think, oh, that poor bastard.
And plus, you said, hey, Miss Rucci. And she's like, well, that's clearly not me. That's not my last name.
No one else on the block. And she would have made eye contact with me. But I know she was just staring ahead.
Tim in Canada. What's up, buddy?
Ronnie, I'm in Florida 24 years ago, and I'm in Kissimmee, and Yogi Berra was doing some coaching work for the Astros. So I lean over the dugout, and I go, hey, Yogi, Mr. Berra, can I get your autograph? And he looks at me, and he just gives me the old, and he waves the arm, and Pete Incaviglia, I don't know if you remember him.
Sure.
He looked at fucking Yogi Berra, and he looked at me, and he just started fucking laughing. He just about fell on the floor, man. It was,
well, because Yogi Berra is the nicest guy in the world. But Yogi Berra played in the 50s, right? So it meant the last 50 years of his life, he had to just write his name to whoever he saw. And a lot of time on an awkward baseball. One time we did a signing at this thing, and I go, hey, let's just get baseballs and sign them. And then by the end of it, everybody was mad at me because it was so fucking hard to sign your name on baseballs. Lou, sweet Lou in Jersey.
Hey, Ronnie B, $1 million.
Yeah, $1 million.
Biggest jerk celebrity that I've encountered was James Brown for the color commentary in sports.
Really? Again, known as a nice guy.
Yeah, and he was 1995 Stanley Cup Finals. Before they went to intermission, he was yelling at fans, at the staff.
Really?
And as soon as the light went back on, he was all smiles.
That is fucking great. You remember when Lawrence O'Donnell was screaming the other day?
Yeah, loved it.
I saw a thing on Mediaite that says that not one person from MSNBC, management, his fellow people, ever said, hey, this is not Lawrence O'Donnell. You know what I mean? You just caught him. Who's that right there? Was that Deborah Messing? Somebody carrying her things for?
I didn't see who that was. I missed. I only saw the entourage.
Yeah. I saw red hair, and it was just like literally over her face. But not one person said, hey, he's not like that. You know what I mean? Isn't that funny? I didn't even think of that. Hey, Chuck in Boston, what's up?
Yeah, in the early 80s when Knight Rider was on TV, famous. I went to a car show at the Providence Civic Center to see the car, but the fucking thing wasn't there. David Hasselhoff showed up. I said, where's the car? He said, get sick. I got snubbed by a fucking car.
Yeah, I guess Kit was very, hot and then gone very, very quickly. Hard Rock Johnny.
Bennington.
Hey, Johnny, can we do next Tuesday as a walkthrough? Don wants to be there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love when Don's around.
See you next Tuesday.
Do you know, by the way, Don's no longer watching football. He's done with it.
I saw his disgust with the Baltimore team on his Facebook. I was kind of like, whoa, Don, calm down.
Really? I don't ever go to Facebook, so I'll have to check. Find it for me, Chris. But he is hardcore Ravens guy.
Yeah.
Done with them.
It's very surprising.
He told me once he bleeds purple. I'm not even making that up. Somebody snubbed you, Johnny?
Oh, yeah. And it was hardcore, and it made me very sad because it was someone I always wanted to meet. Chad Smith.
Oh, he's a
Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
Well, he was here for an event there was like a chicken flip thing, and he got so bad that Sammy Hagar actually walked out of the interview that they were doing because Chad Smith was so out of control and like he wouldn't talk to anybody, including the interviewer. It's like he was snubbing everybody, including the interviewer from VH1 or MTV. I forget which one it was.
Kind of supposed to talk to that guy.
Was he living a rock and roll lifestyle at the time, if you know what I'm saying?
Supposedly he was not, but maybe he could have maybe fallen back into that.
But sometimes do we just catch people on a bad day? We've all had bad days before.
I mean, I've had a million great experiences with people, but there's very few. But every now and then, someone's going to have a bad day, and you may just catch them doing it.
And in my experience, the one that I did not mention the name of the person, now that I'm older, I have done live events, I realize that this person was in a shitty situation, a less than excited situation to be doing the show that they were doing, and it was probably just a nightmare day for him, and he just did not feel like being nice to me. And I at the time I was not angry, I was just crushed.
Yeah.
I was like, this hurts me because I like you so much.
There was not too long ago. I saw a world famous comedian and was about to go on stage, and they looked so in a small club, and they looked freaked out before they hit the stage. I was like, hey, I'm gonna go say hi to, and then I looked at him like, I better not, and he was just like,
Yeah.
And that's how some people get, but when they're performing, they think to themselves, everything could go wrong. Perhaps that's how Mr. Chad Smith was feeling that day, Johnny.
No, he wasn't performing. He was just hanging out, trying to do an interview.
It's hard to hang out. I can't keep making excuses for this fuck. What do you got, Chris? What did he say on his Facebook?
Embarrassed and disappointed in the team. Taking a knee during the anthem? If you don't like the president, then that's fine. But don't disrespect the men and women who fought for our country. Never again will I watch a game or back the Ravens. You lost me as a fan.
Wow.
And I think, wasn't there another one, Chris, too, because he was in, didn't he go to London?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, we just saw him today.
I think in another one about how he was there.
We just saw him today, and he said he's done with them. And I'm like, you're kidding me. But, that's what made me start this at the beginning of the show today.
To see
and
how
hear
many
from
people
a lot
are
of
out there.
other people.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to say this. You're going to come back around. Because there won't be the same guys there that knelt. Or it won't be, you know what I mean? All right, talk to you later, Johnny.
Bye, Johnny.
Peace.
Later, Bennington.
And what are you trying to tell me? You're not going to watch the fucking Super Bowl? They're lying.
You're going to feel weird.
By the way, remember how Chris was telling me the 3D printing is gone?
Yeah.
Chris was telling me the 3D printing is gone?
Yeah.
Netflix has a documentary I still don't see how this is going to be necessary to the rest of us, and it looks like it takes more time than you could ever want to spend.
Right.
But it's on its way. I saw this thing where Hershey's is going to set up 3D printing so you can make the kind of candy that you want. And I'm like, bar?
It's just bar shaped, please.
I've never thought to myself, I want a Hershey bar with more
excitement to it.
Yes. I would say this. I'd like to have some more almonds. And sometimes if I have almonds, I'll just bite both at the same time.
By the way, I'm telling you, somebody tried to pass on some fake news to me over the weekend, and it was such fake news that I didn't even react. I was the only person that I started to look around the group and say, everyone relax, this isn't happening. Somebody said, did you hear that they are discontinuing the Reese's cup? And everyone's like, what? And I'm like, wherever you read this, wherever you saw it. And he's like, my nephew told me, and he read it online. Yeah. And I go, this is literally the most popular candy in the United States. It's literally the most popular candy. That's like saying you're discontinuing, Lucky Charms or Coca-Cola. It's just not going to happen. Don't worry about it. It's totally fine.
You're the cool head.
I was the only one not freaked out. And they're like, that's the best candy. I go, it is, which is why it won't be discontinued. I assure you. And then later I calmly Googled it and found out that it was false. But it's just such a funny fake news thing to start because it clearly would make people so panicked.
Well, it's at least, it's got to be the best-selling non-bar candy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there might be a candy bar that sells more.
I used to say that it was my favorite candy, but I have changed my answer.
You're drunk.
And I've gone full Kit Kat is my preferred candy. And I used to say it was Reese's. I still love it. I love a Reese's cup.
Don't even bother. We don't want you.
But I'm a Kit Kat all the way.
If I feed, this sounds gross, but like girls' period food, because every time
that, you know what? Really that is when I want it.
By the way, period food sounds like you're eating food made from a period.
It's when you feed your period. You actually have to put those up instead of tampons. It works really well.
By the way, Joe Liz had a joke last night that I'm not going to say on the air, because this should go into his special.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you guys off the air.
Okay, good.
Don't let on that I did. But what do you eat? Kit Kats?
I love, in high school, like every time around our periods, me and like all of my friends used to like sell
Period
Kit
party?
Kats.
Yeah. Kit Kats are a good period food. Yeah.
I wonder if it hits something in, you know what I mean, like a relaxation thing.
Because that is when I want it the most.
Yep.
You're right. And I also will say, like, years ago, one of the Kourtney Kardashian did a video on like the perfect way to eat the Kit Kat, and I was like, she's drunk, she's so weird, and she like took all the chocolate off and then like did each like little thing in a section. I was like, what a weirdo, and now I do it all the time. And she was right, it's the best way to eat a Kit Kat is to deconstruct it.
It's always funny, like you do that, because when I was a little kid, I invented this thing. I believe I invented it, and that's a chocolate malt ball that I could throw it in my mouth, scrape it clean, right, and then suck down until it imploded.
I love doing that. That's my favorite way to eat a malt ball.
I think every kid invents that, and like I thought I invented it.
And
the way I would eat cheese doodles is like a puffed up cheese doodle.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'd bite off all the cheese so that there was just like a square puff with no cheese on it in the middle. It was so fucking strange.
Now,
like, so it would almost be like a French fry shape, like thin.
Exactly. With no fucking orange cheese on it.
I'm gonna. I've never heard of that one.
It's a good one.
But this is a weird thing. I don't know if other people felt this way. I think it. Although I haven't had it in a million years, I always thought a cheese puff was great, but a cheese doodle was kind of gross.
I like a doodle more than a puff.
I know some people feel that way. I think it's better whether you like a nice softness to it or a hardness. Because like what he's describing, you wouldn't be able to do with a puff.
No, it's impossible.
Thank you.
It's
That
brittle.
proves it's a better.
Hard.
It's not brittle.
It's a hard brittleness to it.
No, a puff?
The doodle.
Yeah.
That's.
So you did this with a puff.
With a puff, yeah.
Yeah, I prefer the doodle.
No, you started with a doodle.
Yeah.
You started with doodle.
Yeah, well, it's a cheese puff. It's a cheese puff.
So he called it a cheese puff doodle, and I thought he didn't know how to say cheese doodle. But what he doesn't have to know how to say, the name is cheese puff. You went on and called it a doodle after.
I think they call them cheese doodles too. I think they're fucking confused at what the fuck they're calling.
All right, how are we going to do all these live reads today? You and fucking Vito fucked up completely.
We should do a ring right now.
Vito, what happened over there with you?
I had no idea we were doing one. You guys didn't have it in your hand when I was pressing the sweeper, so I assumed.
So who are you blaming it on?
It's 100% on Kristen.
Okay, good. I didn't know where it was going.
I'm glad.
See, they call cheese doodles cheese puffs, too.
What is that?
Do not.
Cheese doodles, dude.
Look at the one right above it. Look right above it. He's ignoring that there's one that says.
And there's one that fucking says cheese doodles as well.
Look, but that one has a doodle. Look at this one. That's a fucking doodle, dude.
I know that they're confused. They're the ones who fucked me up.
What is
seriously,
this?
Dude.
The fucking wise people.
Dude, this is how they act.
Looks like they're not so wise.
This is how they lock
doodles.
people up, man. For being
I ain't getting locked up over this. There's plenty of evidence saying they call fucking cheese puffs cheese doodles.
Please have a normal show. Everything is fine and cool here.
All right.
You're screaming,
I'm
man.
not gonna lie, I
They're
want to
gonna
do
drag
it.
you out. Ring's mission is to make neighborhoods safer. Today, over 1 million people use the amazing Ring video doorbell to help protect their homes. Ring knows home security begins at the front door, but it doesn't end there.
So now they're extending that same level of security to the rest of your home with the Ring Floodlight Cam. Just like Ring's amazing doorbell, Floodlight Cam is a motion-activated camera and floodlight that connects right to your phone with HD video, two-way audio that lets you know the moment anyone steps on your property.
See and speak to visitors, even set off an alarm right from your phone with Ring's Floodlight Cam. When things go bump in the night, you'll immediately know what it is. Whether you're home or away, the Ring Floodlight Cam lets you keep an eye on your home from anywhere.
Ring Floodlight offers the ultimate in home security with high visibility floodlights and a powerful HD camera that puts security in your hands. With Ring, you're always home. Save up to $150 off a Ring of security kit when you go to ring.com/comedy. Ring.com/comedy. That's ring.com/comedy.
So, are we going to break again when we got him coming in?
Yes.
Rather just giant puffs above your head.
Yeah, turn that off. Turn that off, Chris.
It's off. It's done.
Yeah, because I don't want your insanity to leak into everybody else. And I want to hear. I want to eat. All right. So listen, I've got the best-selling candy list.
Okay.
If you want to hear this,
Yes, I do.
Everybody say what they believe is number one.
I believe number one would be the Reese's Cup.
Yeah.
Jen, cup.
Yeah.
Vito,
Snickers.
Milky Way.
Number 5. Kit Kat bar coming in for period food. Did not. I'm already stunned. I didn't think Kit Kat was top 5.
Really?
I thought it was more eclectic than that. You know what I mean?
They're like, we're looking at our data here. It seems to spike every month and then completely drop off. What do you think this is due to?
You may be 100% right. I mean, when you think of all the famous candy bars that they are,
yeah,
hitting number 5 is gigantic. I mean,
yeah, that's huge.
Number 4, and it's the original Hershey's Milk Chocolate Bar. That comes at number 4.
Tried and true.
Number 3 also surprises me. Snickers.
Wow,
Snickers.
yeah.
Wow.
Top 3.
Number 2. What was yours, Chris?
Milky Way.
You guys.
We both said Reese's Cups.
Chris, Vito's yours already went in number 3, right?
Snickers.
So you're a loser. Go fucking sit down.
Go to hell.
Just like the live reads.
Number 2, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
Wow, I thought for sure we would be number 1.
And what is number 1?
Milky Way.
Number 1 is M&M's.
Oh!
M&M's.
Chris isn't even in top
Number
5.
1.
Bullshit. I would have thought a Twix would be more popular than a Kit Kat bar.
Well, by the way, yours is Milky Way. Have you ever heard of the Milky Way store?
Maybe there should be.
Milky Way to me is, and it's the great grandma's food. You know what I mean? It's really Grandmaville. I mean, it tastes like the Three Stooges. You know what I mean? It tastes It tastes like Al Jolson.
I have no interest in a Milky Way.
Me neither.
No interest whatsoever.
The only way I would eat one is if it's a mini. I'd be like, oh, that isn't too much.
Yeah, like
of one. I know a lot of people don't like minis. I do. By the way, when I was a kid, I think my number one, not even on here, the Great Clark Bar. Clark Bar, which I also ate weird.
Yeah.
Almost like the way Chris does with a cheese puff doodle.
I stab Reese's cups with pretzel sticks from the kitchen, and I like to get that salty and sweet flavor in.
That's disgusting, dude.
Wait, hold on.
I break them in half, and then I like stab them, and I try to get them stuck in there.
Like a little mushroom that you're eating?
Or I'll just put like two
You're
on top.
too old, dude, man, to be doing this. You shouldn't be having it at all. You're going to end up losing your
Then he
feet.
said this was happening multiple times at work.
Yeah.
Like, this is what he's doing at
I
work.
started when I was an intern. That was my go-to snack, and then sometimes I'd even throw in Cheetos into the mix.
Oh, what the fuck?
I worry about you, buddy.
I like a plethora of flavors.
Yeah.
Everyone needs cheese, salt, sweet, back to cheese,
Yeah.
more salt, stabbed into sweet.
One time I took one. Did you ever see those peanut butter crackers?
Mm-hmm.
And I just put peanut butter on top of it. And
You're like, not peanut butter on this shit.
peanut butter on top of all my peanut butter. And I'm going to tell you something. I mean, it's disgusting. I mean, what I did was horrific. But I can't tell you how good it tasted. I like this is phenomenal.
Because that weird dry peanut butter that they use,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It scratches an itch sometimes, but it's not.
It's not real
something
peanut
you
butter.
want.
But when you put
Yeah.
real peanut butter on it, you're like, hey, we're on to something here. But, then I thought to myself, you know how people are like, you would think more stuff to the Oreo is better, but a double stuffed Oreo is, no, it's too much.
I thought that I invented the double stuff Oreo. And then they started coming out with it. But I would do that to an Oreo, that I would unscrew them, eat 2 dry cookies, and then I would smush together 2 Oreos. And then when I found out that there was a double stuff, I'm like, you're saving me so much time here. I mean, so much. And I don't have to eat any more dry cookies.
By the way, these are the saddest stories ever told. I still think Vito's is the saddest, though, because he's building something. I know it has to do with your feelings. You're too sensitive. That's why you're eating that. He's a sweet fucking guy, He's a sweet fucking guy.
I think you guys would like my pretzel and Reese's cup.
I feel too bad about myself just
All right.
doing it.
Sick Roy 6 tweeted to us, I eat combos, cracker pretzel crust, surgically removed with my teeth, then enjoy the filling. This is another one that I do.
Yeah.
I guess I do a lot of these.
Yeah, you are. You're nuts.
You know the pretzel bites you get at movie theaters?
Yeah.
I would like to bite the crust off those and then dip them in the warm cheese. So you just got the inside dough. Dip it in the warm cheese.
Stop telling us, Vito.
Yours are always kind of the worst, right?
You seem like no. Vito's. It seems like he belongs more to rehab because it seems like that you're looking for a feeling more than a taste. You know what I mean? That's why I worry about you.
It tastes like love itself.
It tastes like my dad never died. Poor bastard.
Oh, sweet Vito.
Who do you think has had the saddest life, Vito or Chris?
Chris.
Okay, that's true. When I saw that picture of Chris, just how depressed his parents looked.
Oh God! Remember they just.
That's the only picture of your parents, right?
Yeah, because I mistakenly threw a bunch of stuff out, but I did end up finding these pictures.
Yeah, but
the one of him with his parents where he just looks like a very extra kid.
Oh, we just lost her again.
Damn it! I just keep seeing the dress
Yeah.
go by, and I don't see who the dress belongs to.
I think it's the Thin White Duke.
Oh my God! So there, his exhausted parents.
I mean,
His
they're
mom
just
just
tired.
looks like beat down by you.
It wasn't just me.
And then just look at like how extra Chris looks. Like he looks like he has so much energy.
He's a small child. Sure, I did.
And your dad is just dead in the eyes there. He's just like,
Oh yeah,
get
for a long time.
me out of there.
Both of his parents do not look like they can handle this world. Oh, Chris. Chris. Eric in Delaware. Eric.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much. I thought you would appreciate this real quick. It's a internet and celebrity story. I was in New York for the first time ever. Because we don't get up your way that much. And I walked in, and I was having coffee with my buddy, and he goes, "You know who that is right there?" And he told me who it was, and I went over and said hi, and he said thanks, and, just turned away. When the internet first came on down here, we started downloading clips of this guy doing all these crazy radio skits, and I loved him and never met him, and then ended up being the Grease Man.
Well, a lot of radio guys are super shy in real life.
Right.
And I found that out. Yeah, I found that out many times that these guys that I would know from hearing, and then I would meet them or work with them, and they couldn't even make eye contact.
Right, because your assumption is they could talk about anything.
Yeah.
They're very comfortable. That's for some radio people, depending on how they do their show. Like, that is a world that they've created.
Yeah,
in their mind.
they live in a box, and then when you meet them in real life, and I used to work with this guy who was like a legend for it, and in the hall I would see him. He'd have this light little thing. He goes, "Hey man, I'm just a fan of what you're doing and stuff." And I go, "Oh, thanks." And then he would go in the air and be like, "I just saw Bennington in the hall. Totally treats me like I'm dirt," And he's just rocking to this thing. But because to him, none of that on the air was ever real. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then the thing of in real life, it just seemed so uncomfortable for him. I was very, very surprised. Ben, Minnesota. Ben.
Hey, sir, I have two.
Yeah.
The first one was my first day in New York. I was working on 53rd and 8th Transit. Got there about a month before 9/11. Just give you a context date. 53rd and 8th, that apartment building, Jerry Orbach from Law and Order, baby dad, walks out. Sweetest man ever. He's just so respectful. Would say hello to you every day. He was just amazing. But at the end of the day, I would see another celebrity, and I would always try to say, look, I was thinking 53rd Street subway. This is kind of what you were just talking about. Opie. His head would be down. He would never say hello. Say, hey, you guys had a great show. Never look up.
He might have been listening to, earbuds and stuff too. I don't know. A lot of people just come out of their show and they're just like, what just happened in the show?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people just leave it, It's weird. Like we said, Chris's thing, you just don't really judge the guy by what happened there. Hey, what time is this emergency broadcast thing?
2:20.
I'm so interested to see if my phones go off for it too. We gotta go to Spots?
Yeah, we gotta go to Spots and finish our sponsor, Dish.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Put my dish.
You got it. You got it. Stay with it.
The Let's Dish segment is brought to you by Dish. Dish listens when no one else does. Dish tuned into you. To learn more and sign up today, call 1-844-CALL-DISH. Go to dish.com or visit a local retailer near you.
We'll be right back with Joe List. He's got some actually big major celebrity stories that he wants to tell us. Bennington.
Bennington will be right back. Grab some Hoogies, Kooks, Tasty Cakes, and come on down.
I can't do a Philly accent.
Joe List in the house. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me. This is very
It's the Joe
exciting.
List Day.
Yeah, I love being here.
By
I
the
really
way,
do.
I saw Joe List at Gotham last night, and I said to him, "This is the TV special, dude. You don't have to do anything new to it. Your shit is really, really have come together now, man."
Oh, thank you. Well, I appreciate it. I'm hoping to get one of these Netflix things that people seem to be doing.
I would love to see you on Netflix. I would watch it over and over again.
No, thank. Do you have any say? Do you have?
Yeah,
a thing?
well, I am a subscriber to Netflix, so really, it's like I'm part of the family.
Yeah, he's in the family. That's
Yeah.
actually Netflix is his mother's maiden name. So
right. I'm on Netflix on my mom's side.
Gail Netflix Senior. That doesn't make sense.
But you've had. Now, I saw you and I broke last night. I went to do the Nick DiPaolo show.
Yes.
You went to the cellar and had quite the exciting night.
Yeah, it was wild. It was a wild night over there. I got bumped, which is,
insane.
Insane. I mean, I feel like I'm
Unjust.
Netflix ready, for God's sakes.
Right.
No, we
And,
just established that.
It was quite a show. It was Pete Holmes, and then Aziz Ansari.
Yeah.
And then Jon Stewart, and then Louis C.K., and then Amy Schumer, and then Madonna.
Holy shit.
Who,
That's insane.
The picture
had the worst set of the night. She was the least good.
Too bad. But I heard people were laughing with Madonna. Is that true?
Yeah, she had a couple things, I get, but Madonna doesn't seem human to me.
Right.
She came down with 3 armed Secret Service suit guys that were like, and the cellar has a great policy. It's the comics first. Everything is about the comedians there.
Yeah.
And this guy was like, I need you off these stairs. And I was like, no, this is my club. We run the club. Who are you?
Yeah.
You're a visitor. But he had a gun and a suit,
Right.
so I had
So
to
you
move.
that was just what
Yeah.
you said.
And he was also quite imposing.
By the way, it took me a moment to realize you weren't saying that there was like a 3-armed security guard.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Oh,
a 3
that would've been great.
armed security, and I was like, wow, she does run with like a weird crew.
It's freaky.
She's interesting.
It's freaky.
That would have been fun. But no, it was a little it was interesting and strange. And Amy was like, I'm going to bring out a friend. She's like, it's not like Madonna or anything. And then when she said, ladies and gentlemen, Madonna, they didn't really react. It was the worst reaction because people were like, what?
Yeah.
It didn't make sense for Madonna to be there.
Right.
But she was.
And then once they saw it was really her, did they like?
They reacted in a weird way even then. They were like, it was like, woo, woo, what?
Yes.
What?
Because I agree with you. Is Madonna real? She's been famous, incredibly famous for so long that there's almost an Easter Bunny quality about it.
Very strange. She has weird accents, and we've seen her breasts,
Right.
and she has guards. It's a whole thing. But in my mind, the sexiest woman of all time.
Well, she's not a warm woman. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
that's another thing that it seems like you should be seeing her in a giant venue.
Right.
You know what I mean? See her from afar. And even that gets weird. Like, I was at a Dylan concert, and I was like, really? There's Dylan. You know what I mean? Like, Dylan is real. And I'm in the same space as him. Strange.
Very strange. And it is not my first run-in with one of the biggest musicians, celebrities in the world.
You've had another one
in the
recently.
last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to talk. As it was happening, I was like, I'd like to come in and tell the Bennington folks the story. 'Cause it's a real wild one, if I may.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't want to take up all the time here, but I got asked to go to see Paul McCartney. He's a big star.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say he's probably Bono, Madonna, Paul McCartney?
Yes, I mean, you're the living Beatle. Right now, the Beatles are the biggest we've ever had, and he's the living one. He represents all the Beatles now.
Yeah, and even when all the Beatles were around, still kind of like the biggest Beatle.
The girls loved them.
John was, of course, John.
Yeah.
But even the songs of Paul are more well-known and sung along to than the John song.
Yes.
But anyway, so he was playing at Madison Square Garden, and then our friend Louis C.K., he texted me and said, what are you doing tonight?
Yeah.
And I said, I'm doing a bunch of spots at the cellar. Are you doing spots? And he said, no, I was thinking about getting Paul McCartney tickets. And I didn't want to be presumptuous, so I said, that's exciting. And then an hour later, he wrote back, I'm asking you if you want to go to Paul McCartney. And I was very afraid about canceling spots at the Comedy Cellar. So he texted for me, which was very nice.
Yeah.
And then we went to see Paul McCartney at Madison Square Garden, which is very exciting because we performed there together.
Yes.
I've performed at Madison Square Garden also. And so Paul and I have that in common, of course. And so we went, and then Louis, a little more casual about getting to the show. At 8:30, we were at his home, and he was in shorts. And I thought maybe we could get on down to that Paul McCartney concert. And then very casual, and I thought we'd be taking a limo, and he's like, no, we're taking the 1 train. I was like, all right, that's fun. And then as we got there, they were taking us the back secret celebrity way, and they're like, oh, they're delaying. We have to walk around the security guard asshole way because Paul McCartney is coming out right now. So we had to kind of detour because a Beatle was taking the stage. And so we walked out right in time to see McCartney come out. And then we had like a VIP celebrity situation.
Yeah.
And so I grabbed a stack of cheeseburgers and a Pepsi. And we sat down, watched Paul McCartney. And the row that we were in, it was Louis and then me and then an empty seat and Stevie Van Zant's wife or date.
Right.
I don't know his status.
His wife.
And then Stevie Van Zant and then an empty seat next to him. Worth noting, Stevie Van Zant, not impressed by Paul McCartney's performance.
Really?
Whatsoever. I mean, maybe he was just holding it in, but
Yeah.
he stood and just made this face. I know it's radio, but he made this face. Stone face,
Yeah.
didn't clap, didn't tap, didn't sing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's like comedy. You watch a guy and you go,
Right. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, what he's doing is good.
he's performed there himself. The whole row had performed.
Right.
At the
Oh, that's true.
Yes. I don't know what his wife does,
Yeah.
but anyways, show was amazing and watch it. And have you been to see the McCartney show?
Yeah, I've seen him several times over. It's great.
Quite a catalog.
Yes.
He's got. You forget that those, like you said, those are real. Those are his songs. He's playing Eleanor Rigby, Let
Right.
It Be,
Yeah.
Jet, all these like insane
Yes,
songs.
it's-
Hard Day's Night.
Yeah. And when he goes into that, like 64, like when it's Hard Day's Night, you go, holy shit, that's true. This is this is Hard Day's Night. Because you just think of him as his more modern songs or even the later version of the. But, you know, the I'll never stand. You're like, holy shit. Yeah, and people are screaming and you see people crying because their life.
Right.
Their life is there.
It's the same person. And then I'm
Yeah.
sitting there thinking I've been on that stage in the same spot as Paul McCartney. Then he sings Blackbird. And, he's like, this is about the civil rights movement, which I feel like you couldn't do that now.
Right.
Do a civil rights song and call him Blackbird.
No, you wouldn't be able
You'd
to.
like, Blackbird.
No.
What you mean, Blackbird? But anyway, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
black impression. That
yeah,
was
what you were
horrific.
doing can't be done today.
Yikes. Jesus. Sorry. Can we cut that?
No, all live. So that was one
damn.
of the most exciting things ever happened to us.
So it was the most exciting things.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, there's more excitement.
What?
I'm just teasing the excitement. Sorry, I'll pick up the pace. I
No,
apologize.
this is great.
So we're watching the show, and then towards the end of the set, he plays a long show, by the way. They don't just wheel him out and he says a couple songs. This is like, he does like a 3-hour show. Louis elbows me and just says, Bruce. And I look up and Springsteen, they're walking Springsteen into the VIP section, which we're a part of.
Yeah.
And then he's looking up the row going, buh, buh. And then we're like, there's the seat. I'm like, there's a seat right here. And then we moved Stevie and his wife down a seat. We scoot them. And Bruce and Patty just come out. And we're not in a box. We're in a real hockey seats.
Yeah.
So they had to kind of like inch by us, like I'm holding my popcorn and stuff. And Bruce Springsteen, I wanted to kiss him on the lips or the nose, but he kind of scooched by. So now the row is Louis, me, Patty Skilav.
Yes.
I don't know how to say her name. And then Bruce, and then Stevie and his wife. So now I'm just going, this is insane. They play Hey Jude. We're all singing na 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 na's together. And then Patty videos the whole crowd and ends on me. I'm giving a thumbs up. I'm in a Springsteen home video, which is just unbelievable. I'm shaking. I'm looking at Bruce, and Bruce Springsteen to me is the most. He's the biggest.
He's your guy.
Artist in my life. More important than my dad, certainly. Maybe my mom. Anyways, he's tapping. We're singing. Then they leave, and then they go and guest on. I saw her standing there.
Yeah.
Big hit. And they
And the
come
place
out.
goes nuts.
The place goes nuts.
Yeah.
And Paul McCartney, that jerk, he introduces them by saying Bruce Springsteen and Stevie Van Zandt. He does Stevie second. So it comes off as Bruce Springsteen and... So poor Stevie. I felt maybe that's why he was sulking the whole show.
But he might have been thinking, like, hey, I got to do a performance, though.
That might have been it.
Yeah.
He might have been in his head trying to...
Well,
learn
you don't
that,
want to mess that one up.
No. Well, he had two chances because the song ended, and sometimes in life you go, God, I wish I could just relive that moment. And McCartney just went, let's do it again. And they just started the whole song over, beginning to end, twice back to back. I've never seen that in 30 years.
No, I've never heard of that.
I wonder why they would do that.
I think they just didn't rehearse a second song, and he said, I got Bruce, the crowd's rocking.
Were they recording? Was this maybe something for TV, like an HBO? Like, let's get it one more time?
Maybe there was a
More
lot of
angles?
cameras and
Yeah.
such, but it was amazing because I got to relive it again. And then as the show was winding down, Paul's tour manager was walking by, and Louis knows him because they met at SNL 40. And then Louis, you forget, Louis becomes shrunken down because I'm sitting with Bruce Springsteen watching Paul McCartney, but you forget This is one of the most famous people.
Absolutely.
And so Louis goes, hey, I forget the guy's name. And he's like, oh, my God, Louis. Like, he's blown away by Louis.
Yeah.
So then they chat for a while. And as they're chatting, I'm like, this could be something. And then Louis leans over and goes, do you want to go meet a Beatle? And I was like, I do want to meet a Beatle. And so we went to this private after-party thing. And we were the first two there. It was almost like, it felt like Goodfellas, like we were going to get whacked. There was just all these balloons and food. And it's just Louis and I sitting there quietly. And then everyone shows up, including... Ralph Lauren, who I thought was Senator Joe Lieberman. They look very similar.
Yeah, they are similar. I never even thought of that before.
They look very similar, and I was like, oh, that's Joe Lieberman, and he's wearing like a biker leather jacket with the sleeves rolled up. And then Louis like, you're a fucking idiot. I was like, well,
you
whatever.
know what he looks like, Gil?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, isn't it funny how much like
yes.
Lieberman
They
he
look
looks?
a lot alike, and we actually argue with Louis. He's like, they don't look alike. I'm like, they look the same. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. And then the tour manager came over and he said, I'll go get Paul McCartney. And then Paul was walking over, and then Louis goes, you're about to meet a Beatle. And then as Paul was walking closer and closer, Louis just went, a Beatle, a Beatle, a Beatle, a Beatle, a Beatle as he's walking
funny,
up.
man.
And then Paul walks over and goes, oh, Louis, hey, Louis, which is fun, because Louis not Italian, I think. That was just like his American voice, I think, or something.
Hey, look, it's Louis.
Yeah, it was very strange, but he gave him a big hug, and then we all chatted for like 15 minutes. Me, Louis C.K., and Paul McCartney.
What was the topic? How did you...
Mostly, they started talking about Louis. He was like, hey, I heard you did a show. It was serious, and you're making a movie. Like, Paul McCartney knows about Louis C.K.'s to-dos and such. And then Louis, to his credit, such a great guy. He introduced me as, this is my friend. He's a comedian. He's hilarious. He's performed here. We've all performed here. Very easily, he could have gone, this is some asshole that wanted to come to the show.
Or handed you his jacket.
Yeah.
Just to show off in front of Paul McCartney.
And then Paul McCartney was like, you don't seem funny to me. I'm just taking a piss. And he grabbed both my arms. Like, Paul McCartney had both hands on my arm and was making fun of me. And then we were just talking about how comedy is harder because you can't do the same things. Yeah. And then I brought up, I've seen Brian Wilson twice, and both times Brian Wilson introed the song God Only Knows by saying, this is Paul McCartney's favorite song.
Yeah.
So I said, is it your favorite song? And he said, well, it's a very good song. You know? He talked, and then it's weird when you meet someone that big because they're telling stories, and you want to be like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
He's like, when we did Sgt. Pepper, I was playing bass. And I'm like, yeah, of course. What are you talking about? The story sucks. I read it. I read this. I read all the things. He's like, Brian went a little crazy. I'm like, of course that. I know that.
See the movie. There's a movie about your friend.
When she brought it up, he's like, did you see the film? He's like, it was very much like that. And I was like, well, that's good to know. And we chatted, and then he had to go at some point.
But that's really funny that there weren't a lot of people backstage, just you guys.
No, there was they came. A bunch of people came, and it was like his wife was there. We met her briefly, and then, Bruce was there, the whole thing. And there was a bunch of like young, I assume like agents and like young guys that looked like the people you're like, I hate that guy.
Yeah.
Like 25-year-olds in $2,000 suits with laminates, and they're like, giggling and pushing each other, and you're like, ugh. How'd you get here? And then they're looking at me like, look at this nerd comic with ripped jeans on. Doesn't deserve to be here. My jeans weren't ripped. I don't know why.
But isn't this funny, like so many years ago that you make this decision to go into comedy, it leads to experiences like this? That's the strange thing.
That's what I kept thinking about is this Paul McCartney, Liverpool and then Hamburg and then New York and Ed Sullivan. I've performed on that stage as well. And he's like the most famous person in the world. And then the Jesus Beatles burned the record. This guy's whole life has led him to this moment. And then our lives have intersected for 10 minutes.
Yeah. And
that's bizarre.
That is bizarre. That is the craziest thing. And yes, there is I don't know even if there's going to be another. Well, in all these years, we haven't had really another Beatles. No one's come close to being that much of a cultural impact.
Right.
And when you look at it, it was 6 years. That's it.
Right.
6 years, 64 to 70 was all the recording.
And it's always young kids' favorite band. It's like most kids' first favorite band.
To
It's
this day, right?
Yeah.
They, at one point, the craziest stat ever, including sports and deaths, is that the Beatles at one point had 1 through 5 on the Billboard charts. So they were like, here's number 5, it's the Beatles. Number 4, it's also the Beatles. They just went 1 through 5.
And the thing is like probably a year before, no one in America had heard of them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you're not going to be able to sneak up. Like, they were able to go to Hamburg, Liverpool, and London, and still people in New York and LA, there was like maybe 10 people in the country goes, oh, I got this import. This band's kind of, and then they came here and they were just so massively big. And then they went from being kind of from like if New Kids on the Block suddenly became Pink Floyd or Radiohead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Strange.
it doesn't even make sense
Right.
what they did.
Yeah, unbelievable. So it was pretty sad. And then Paul walked away, and then we walked over to Bruce, and then Bruce was less jovial, and he said, "Hey, Louie."
Louie.
It was almost like you thought, like, Louie, did you make fun of Bruce to his face at his kid's birthday? Like, he was, hi, Louie. And then once again, Louie was like, "This is Joe List. He's a huge fan. He's a comedian." And then Bruce said hello, and then I said hi, and it's one of those things where you can't try to express. Like, I'm like, my whole life exists because of you.
Right.
I moved because of you.
Yeah.
So I just went, hi, big fan. And then he kind of went to his own thing. And then Lou was like, do you want to cut our losses and get out? And I was like, yeah. We were the first two to leave. We walked right out. We were like,
Yeah.
and then we started pushing each other into the bushes and kissing on the lips. And then it's weird because it's at the Garden. And so you walk out and you're at Penn Station on a Friday night at 1 a.m. And literally there's just a homeless guy emptying his own urine in a bottle. And you're like, wow,
Right.
this is real. This is life, right? A billionaire's private party to this guy.
That's the history of New York in
Yeah.
that exact moment. Chris, you looking for this thing to start? Did it already happen? The emergency broadcast?
It already happened.
While we were talking?
Yeah, it doesn't play on our end, so I just called BNOC and they said it played 2 minutes ago and we had no.
But did it cut into Joe's story?
I believe so.
I need producers. Dude, you can't run an emergency thing. We know how to take a
I
break.
thought it was going to come in through our.
Yeah, like it usually
How's
does.
how's that an emergency?
You had to be listening on a radio, so none of us heard it.
You had to be listening on a radio.
Yeah.
We can't have a radio in that room with you, is what you're telling me.
That's just.
I don't want to do this in front of Joe List. Vito, I know it's your birthday and I know your mom's sick, but you're fired. That's simple. And everything is gone for you, as you know. What is it, Chris?
I just want to let everyone know Joe List is in studio, and Joe's performing at the Draft House Comedy Theater in Washington, D.C.
Oh, that's nice.
October 13th and 14th. Go to drafthousecomedy.com for tickets. And you can see Joe at Rooster T. Feathers in Sunnyvale, California, October 19th through the 22nd. Go to roostertfeathers.com for tickets. And Tuesdays with Stories is available now on iTunes.
So, and is Paul McCartney going to be at any of these shows, or?
No, but we told him about the Comedy Cellar. Evidently, he's been to the Hollywood Improv several times, and this is this is a funny story that he told. And some of the African American fans of yours might be upset by this.
Sure.
He called and said, "I'd like to go to the improv. I'd like to go to the show." And I should stop trying to do impressions
No, it's
of
good.
any
It's good.
of any race
No,
or person or
it's good.
celebrity.
No, it helps. It paints a picture for me.
Yeah, and they said, well, tonight is our Monday urban sort of night. Like they were trying to be like, I don't think you're going to like
This is your
that,
night.
which is sort of racism
It is
and presumptuous.
Yeah.
And he said, well, he didn't know what that meant. He's like, well, I don't know what that means, urban. But to him, he's like, I grew up in a city. And they were like, well, it's kind of our black show. And then I guess Paul was like, well, that sounds fine to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, I loved it. And, I don't want to sell. Maybe I shouldn't be telling this story because now the Hollywood Improv will never book me. They're like, you're spreading rumors about us. But evidently they were like, maybe not this show. And he was like, it was great.
Yeah. But why wouldn't he? Isn't that funny to say to somebody? I mean, this is a guy who grew up on blues,
sure,
soul music, R&B.
Well, I think they're just saying that he's a 75-year-old guy.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. I talk about this in comedy a lot. You see old people in the crowd and you go, oh, they're old.
Yeah.
But the old people, no offense to anyone in the room, the old people grew up in the 60s and the 70s.
Yes.
Like, so you have a guy that's 65. That guy was, boning his buddies at Woodstock.
Yeah, and is still, by the way, getting high.
Yes.
But there is music, oddly enough, will always be bigger than comedy, but is more divisive than comedy. Like, if I went to a show and the kids were doing hip hop or electronic dance music, I would probably not relate. But if a young black comic walks out, talks about what it's like being young and black, I do relate. It's much easier for me to connect to that story than anything else.
And like getting a laugh is a laugh. You know what I mean? Like if you catch someone off
By
guard,
surprise.
It doesn't really matter what your taste is. Most of the time you can go, that isn't my cup of tea, but there was this one part that was really funny, and then it was funny when this happened.
By the way, Joe List did that to me last night, talking about an invention of his that didn't go over as much. I don't want to say what it is, but it was based on, I believe, a Chili's. And that literally kicked me in the stomach.
Oh, thanks.
And I was like, come close to like rolling around like when you're a little kid.
Oh, thanks. That joke is so stupid.
Pure silliness of it. The pure silliness of it.
It's very silly.
Yeah.
I had an idea for a massage parlor for children called Baby Back Rubs. It's one of those things that you put out on Twitter, and it does so well on Twitter that you're like, maybe I'll say this to people. And I set it up as I'm a stupid person. That's the best thought I've ever had in my life. And it hits, and it's one of those ones you apologize to the comedians, like, I'm sorry, I'm an idiot, but they laugh at it.
It was so damn funny.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and you know what? You're right. It was like Michael, what's his name, from that would play Dr. Evil, would do those kind of jokes. You know what I mean?
Right.
That real silliness shit, which is also funny because Joe's material doesn't normally go in that direction, so it's also the secondary surprise. You know?
Oh, I always thought that was great. Like Nick DiPaolo, of course, is a dear friend and one of my favorite comics. But it was always so fun because he's always serious and angry and and then every once in a while he would just start doing some crazy whistle or something really silly.
Yes,
he would say Willy whistle and be like, or do balloon animal sounds, and you'd be like, that's hilarious. This guy's crazy, and he's doing the silliest thing.
I was in here with him last night, and he started doing Snoop Dogg. And an impression of it. And it was the same thing. I was falling out.
And who knew that would be in his wheelhouse?
Did you hear me tell this story about you saying after we were with...
Yes, I did hear you say that.
Do you feel like I guarded it enough?
I think
changed the story enough
I think
so
that you
no
did.
one would ever guess.
I think
what I
so.
was talking
I
about.
hope so anyway.
Yeah.
But I was paying a compliment to Nick, which was the important part.
Yes.
Which is, I hope that's what everyone was
Everybody
focused
got
on.
out of it.
Joe List is in studio. Joe List and Mark Norman will be doing a live Tuesdays with Stories at the Fat Black Pussycat Wednesday, November 8th at 11 p.m. as part of the New York Comedy Festival.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, we're excited. We just
Very
inked
cool.
that deal today. So
That just went down today, huh?
Yeah, so excited, and it's 11 p.m. on a Wednesday, so we need
Perfect time.
all the
Perfect
plugging
time.
we can get, but hopefully we'll have some big guests, we're hoping.
Yeah.
McCartney, Madonna.
That would be great to have all your best friends. You got Bruce there.
Yeah. Bruce was exciting. But yeah, he wasn't given a lot.
You know what's funny is like the guy that the Beatles liked was Elvis, and he was the guy that gave them like the cold shoulder.
Oh, really? They
Yeah,
didn't.
he was like, he didn't get it. He just didn't fucking get it.
Wow.
You know? It's
my
not like he
scene.
came out and said, I hate those guys. He's just like, I don't know. You know? I don't know what they're doing. It's not my thing.
They're both very good.
Yeah, they are very good. But if you... Now, are you more of a Beatles man or a Stones man?
I'm a Stones guy.
See?
Yeah.
That's interesting. So would it be... would meeting Mick or Keith be even a bigger moment for you?
That's hard to say. I think Paul, just because Paul, first of all, seems much more fun, and he's more sort of iconic.
Yeah.
And then I was into him early, so it's more mind-blowing to me because of what the
everybody...
Beatles
Yes.
And also
mean.
because of everybody feels that way.
There's very few people you could say that to that wouldn't be impressed with that experience.
But I will say this. I find it hard to believe that Mick Jagger is doing something right now. You know what I mean? Like, what could he possibly...
Like taking a nap or something.
Oh, what is it? So let's say he's in... What does he do? Is he watching TV? Is he...
Soccer, maybe?
Soccer?
Playing soccer, you think?
Watching soccer, I mean.
Oh, no, he's a cricket guy.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, all cricket, all the time.
Wow.
That's his thing, yeah. His biggest thing is when the internet started that he could watch cricket games from the United States online. He said, this is amazing. I think he even invested into whatever
That's
that
awesome.
early technology was so he could sit
I can
watch
help.
cricket. I couldn't watch cricket no matter what happened. But isn't it also funny, like people are like that, like you said, people look at Louis that way.
Yeah.
And Louis manages to stay pretty Louis.
Yeah, he
throughout
takes
all
the
this.
subway.
Yeah.
Every day. Maybe I shouldn't divulge that.
Yeah, that's too much.
He's on the
Start riding
train.
the rails looking for him.
Yeah, he's very. He lives a normal life. But the Beatles Stones thing is also very divisive. By the way, I posted recently. I said Sticky Fingers is better than any and all Beatles albums, and I was saying that to express that's how good the Beatles are. So good, the greatest thing you can have. That this album is so good, it's better than their album. But people took it as like, how dare you shit on the Beatles?
Some people get that way.
And I was like, well, I was actually trying to lift them up in my analogy.
Yes.
But people get upset, like really upset. Like I think I could have posted, I'm glad Puerto Rico is devastated and gotten a better reaction. Than Sticky Fingers is better than Sgt. Pepper.
Trump posted that. But here's the thing. And by the way, Sticky Fingers is not even my favorite.
Mine either.
Yeah.
Mine. Well, Exile is way better, and that's again expressing how good it is. By the way, also Moondance by Van Morrison.
Oh, unbelievable album.
That's a better album than any album that's not made by the Stones or Beatles. I think.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I actually just turned a friend on that album because they've only heard, like a lot of people listen to just songs. I go, they're going, what would be an album to start with? And I gave them that because, unlike Astro Weeks, it's easier to digest.
Right.
You know what I mean? I get this.
You need to work up to that.
Yeah. Yeah, the Astro Weeks is kind of strange. But I think that the Beatles albums sound way more dated today than the Stones albums do. The Stones just sound like great rock and roll. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And
There's a lot more stank on them too.
Yeah,
they're a little sexier.
Yeah, and when you listen to you think to yourself, "Oh, this seems like 1967 or 1968 or whatever." Now you run across a lot of big celebrities, right?
I have. Yeah,
I've got a big celebrity on the line listening right now, so this is going to be exciting for all. Ladies and gentlemen, try not to freak. It's Mr. Nick DiPaolo. Nick DiPaolo.
I'm sorry. Is this the Bennington show?
Yes, it is.
It's calling Stop and Shop. I'm sorry.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. Thank you for dropping in last night. I appreciate that very much, and I just wanted to thank you. And every time you talk music, you never bring up Men Without Hats.
Well, I do the safety dance anytime I'm watching the NFL and there's a safety. And I'll yell safety dance instead of, and then I make the entire family.
And then we safety dance.
Then they all have to sing safety dance. I've done that since they were kids. But dropping in your show last night, Nick, it was, it's out of my way, but I was willing to do this. It's an imposition, but I was willing to do this for you. Your buddy Joe List is in here right now.
I know.
Yeah.
I was on Twitter, and I just saw that, so I thought I'd call it. Joe has a wife. Joe just got married.
Yes,
I know. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much. She's good. We're still having sex. They say you stop, but we're 5 weeks in, and we've had it 3 times, so I feel good.
I heard you hit. Now I heard you hit her.
Yeah. Well, how else are you going to have sex? I don't know.
Gotta hit her first and after.
I very subtly really ruined my career today in this show here.
Why is that? Oh, by saying?
Well, the improv story, I did a Black impression, I did a bad McCartney impression, I talked about hitting my wife.
Yeah, God forbid you're anti-PT. But,
right.
You gained a lot of followers from the Kumia website.
That's the problem with already being sober. You can't go to rehab.
Right.
Like even if you have 2 drinks a month, and you say the N-word, you can go, I'm going to rehab, and they go, good for you, get out there.
You know, like I was talking to somebody who was really edgy, and I was like explaining why it might be a good thing for them, and they're like, they were very frightened, and I can't, blah blah blah. And then I was like, man, that would probably work for my life, just to take 6 weeks off and kind of reboot myself, and come back.
For your mental health.
Yeah, but no, my insurance company's not going to pay for it unless I start fucking doing speedballs. I bring speedballs back after all these years.
I do speedballs now.
Yeah, I know you do. During your show.
I mix Viagra with Lipitor. I put it on a spoon in the alley.
Now, your show.
Put it into my cock!
Nick, what time do you have to leave now to get in here tonight? Because he was telling me his commute's becoming a nightmare.
My show starts today, and I'll leave in about 10 minutes.
Oh.
I don't know what happened yesterday. I don't know what was going on yesterday.
Yeah.
It was Trump streaking through fucking Fifth Avenue. I don't know. Waze kept telling me to, take a right on this, and then there'd be like 3 cops, and I couldn't go down there. I go to the next street. I'm trying to get to my garage. It's on Broadway and like 50-something, and then next thing you know, I'm 3 feet from the Comedy Cellar. What the fuck happened? But I just wanted to get a cheap plug-in. If people would come see me this Friday night at the Ridgefield Playhouse in Ridgefield, Connecticut.
I'm going to come out for that event. I'm going to be there, yeah.
I'm in Hartford Friday. We should hang out.
Absolutely. I'll meet you in Bridgeport.
I know a good place right in the water. It's a government building.
But it's my favorite gig. I'm a whisper under 300 people, so I think I get a bonus at 300. So I need some people to.
Oh, you get a nice little bump up for yourself, right? Nice little extra taste. Yeah.
What's that?
You get a little bump for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They give me 2-foot-long cheesesteaks. They spoiled me rotten over there, But Ron, again, thank you, Joe. And I'm glad things are going well.
Oh, thank you.
They're going very well for him.
He's like my son. So, and Ronnie, thank you. And Gail, thank you for coming on my show.
I had so much fun on your show.
I'm telling you, you're a classy, smart, funny lady, and there's only like 3 of those left. I see Madonna took to the stage last night, so they're gonna have to hose that down. Huh?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about Madonna: she fucking blew right through the light, so Joe didn't get to do his set.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I got bumped. Well, I got bumped. Also, Louis and Jon Stewart and Aziz were there as well.
Yeah, I got bumped by, oh, fuck it, I can't think of another singer. Anyways.
But whoever it was, it seems like it would have been hilarious. There was such a lesser, well-known name.
I got bumped by Jennifer Lopez at the comic strip.
I wish you just went with Men Without Hats again.
That would work.
All right, I've overstayed my time. Thanks again, you guys.
Okay, buddy.
Bye, Nick.
Talk to you later. Thanks.
Bye.
Well, Nick sounded like he was terminally ill at the end. He's like, Gail, you're a great person. Joe, you've been like a son to me. And
each of you are going to get either a bicycle left.
I'm very proud of you and the woman you've matured into.
It's like a Gipper speech.
Yeah. Go into the garage, see if there's something you like, and take it home. I have that picture of me too, if you want it. I had a great grandmother when I was a kid, from like first to second grade. And around August or September, she'd say, come here. And she'd give me a $5, and she goes, this is in case I'm not alive at Christmas. I want you to have this now,
wow.
in case I'm not here. So I would start, I would be crying. This was still going on when I was a senior in high school.
Oh, my God.
I had 17 years, and I was going like this. Yeah, thanks for the $5. Be able to use this. But isn't that funny? Like, when you're little, you're like, oh my God, she could be dead at any moment. But now I know what it's like. My agent just died yesterday.
Yep.
I've had 2 agents in my life. They both died within the past month.
Yikes.
So strange.
Yes.
The only 2 that you've ever had in your whole life.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
It's really weird.
And so I tell Chris about it. He goes, what's going to happen now? Does his brother take over? I go, do you want to wait until Bob's body gets cold before you start to figure out how the show's going to be taken care of?
Oh, my God, Chris.
Can we set Shiva before you started going, how are we dividing this up?
I should have realized.
That's disgusting.
He's like this, well, who has the account that...
Speaking of dead bodies and Shiva, it's very chilly in here, I have to say.
You want to warm it up a little bit? You know what? Here's the thing.
I just thought it was a funny joke.
No, it is a funny joke, but this is what happens. We don't feel it. You do. That thing hits that chair, but nowhere else in the room. You get it too?
I always do, yeah. That's why it could be 95 degrees out, and I come here in like a jacket.
Chris was just rubbing his neck with a bar towel. It's warm over there, right?
It's boiling hot back in this corner.
It stinks when you bomb, and then they change the whole room. Like that. The whole situation's been changed because of my bomb. You're like, you want to switch seats? I'm like, nah, I just thought Shiva was funny, cold.
By the way, baby back rubs. What could be?
That's the best.
Seriously, why is that the funniest thing in the world?
I feel like I'm going to get tweets being like, that stinks, you hack.
No.
I hope not.
You know what? Colin Quinn is just saying it's so good he wants to put it on his Come on, Chris. Like, plug away, because this is the great Joe List.
Joe List is in studio. Joe's podcast, Tuesdays of Story, will be live at the Fat Black Pussycat on Wednesday, November 8th at 11 p.m. as part of the New York Comedy Festival. And Joe's performing at the Draft House Comedy Theater in Washington, D.C., October 13th and 14th. Go to drafthousecomedy.com for tickets. And it'll be at Rooster Tea Feathers in Sunnyvale, California, October 19th through October 22nd. Go to roosterteafeathers.com for tickets.
Thanks.
Now, do you and your wife do the road thing together, or...
Yeah, those 2 dates she'll be with me, which is exciting. Whenever I can, it's nice because I think there's a thing sometimes in comedy where both gender, either way, where you're like, can I bring my boyfriend or can I bring my girlfriend?
Yeah,
and then it's not a good comic. But I have like, can I bring my wife?
Yeah,
here's her on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, so it's not, and people go, oh, geez, of course.
Yeah,
so.
she's very, very strong. I always think it's very funny when Voss and Bonnie will work back to back sometimes at clubs and never mention that they're married to each other. And Bonnie will bitch about her husband, and Rich will bitch about his wife, but they won't say this is
the
to
guy
the people
who
who
was
don't
just
know.
on.
Yeah, we do.
before me.
We do the same thing. A lot of people kind of put it together, but a lot of people don't. So it's exciting.
But that is funny because you don't really feel the need. You both stand alone with your specific view.
Yeah, and we try not to like kiss right before we go on, because just in case one of us bombs,
right?
You don't want the next one to come out and be like, "This guy's married to that chick that just bombed," or they love her, and then I, eat it, and they're like, "Oh God, she could have done better than that."
Yeah, what does she see in that guy?
Yeah,
what does she see in that?
But it's exciting because it's my only chance to have sex on the road, which is a fun part of the road, rock and roll.
Well,
and,
other than the waitresses that you sleep with.
Yeah, occasionally I'll sleep with a waitress, but platonically.
Yes, just a nice nap together. But this is all working out for you more than you ever thought, right? I mean,
it's given me a lot of anxiety. I mean, I'm going to therapy. I get very stressed because it feels like when you get things, your world's gonna fall apart, and you're gonna die or get hit by a car or something.
So you're not happy even at happy times. It's happy is worse sometimes than.
Well, I'm anxious. I'm just I feel like I'm happy, but I'm very anxious, and I have to kind of battle that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you get everything you wanted, and then it's scary. There's an album called The River by my friend Bruce Springsteen. And the whole thing is about that very situation.
Well, here's what does a therapist say to you that is the thing that works? Why are you paying a therapist? What have they given you?
Well, it's amazing. The therapists, they say the same thing that if my wife or mother said, I'd be like, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yes.
But it's a different relationship. So he'll say, I never tell my wife or mother to shut up. I don't know why. I don't want to misrepresent myself. But he said, he'll say, it's just anxiety. And then when he says it, I'm like, yeah, I feel a wave of love and joy and calm. And then Sarah will be like, it's just anxiety. And I'm like, shut up, you don't get me.
Yeah.
And,
it's not just anxiety.
But he helps, and we get into my youth, that it's not just some disease or curse that I've been given to live with. It comes from, it's all learned behavior. That's everything's learned, except for bipolar and schizophrenia are like, diseases or whatever. But anxiety and depression in his mind is all learned behavior.
Well, I remember the first time that I felt like heavy anxiety. I thought, oh, this is insanity. So I better keep it to myself. But it came from the same thing. Life was going good for me, and I had quit drinking alcohol. So I didn't realize that most of my life I was just like
suppressing.
Hey, I feel a little something. I'm gonna, I'm gonna drink. Oh, well, here's a pill. So I didn't. It never once occurred to me, like, hey, you're kind of unhappy or you're nervous. That's why you're partying so much. I thought I was partying because it's fun to do.
Right.
But giving that up and not having anything behind it, I was just like, what is this feeling?
It's uncomfortable.
Oh, I know. It's insanity. I've lost my mind. And if anyone finds out, I'm going to be stuck in a room.
Right. That's another thing he talks about. Well, acceptance seems to be the key to everything in life. Everything I got, like I read a lot of Buddhist books, or I'll, and sobriety and then therapy. It's all just acceptance. That seems like everything. And he'll say that, I'll say, I'm crazy. I'm losing my mind. I'm crazy. He goes, okay, so you're crazy. Let's work from there. Accept that. You're crazy.
Yeah.
Now what? Let's go from, and you go, oh, all right. Yeah, all right. I'm crazy.
So you're like, it's okay to be
yes, I'm crazy. And so, yeah, we've been working on that a lot. And
Chris, you're a person that you said you would never see a therapist, right? You're afraid of the
That's
thought.
a good approach.
I went to one in college once and didn't like it, and never haven't one since. I just don't feel like they can help me.
Why?
I don't know.
Because you're so special, so complicated and special.
You're more special than Joe, so you...
Yes. You're such a unique kind of...
And I also know I won't listen to what they tell me to do. Like I know myself enough that way, so I'm like, I don't want to talk to this person.
Because you think you're smarter than them.
No, I know that I'm fucking lazy. And I wouldn't fucking do it. I feel like I do it myself. And I also don't like
but
help.
You know what? You say that you're lazy. You're also a very hardworking guy.
Well, thank you. But
what makes you say that you're lazy?
I don't think I think I'm lazy in the sense of self-help or like working on myself.
It's all about feelings, really. Like when Ron says you're a hardworking guy, how does that make you feel? Do you feel happy? Express your feelings.
I don't like expressing my feelings, but
that's your problem.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
That's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and which is learned.
Uncomfortable is how I feel. When I hear you're a hard worker.
Is that right?
It makes you feel uncomfortable to hear that you work hard?
Yes.
You do work hard, Chris.
Thank you.
Do you know that I love you, right? I literally love you.
This is also uncomfortable.
Why is that uncomfortable?
Don't like to hear this.
Why?
I'm not comfortable. I'm just not comfortable feeling it.
Why? He loves you so much.
I do love you.
Thank you very much.
I love you too. I don't know you as well, I assume.
Yeah.
Chris, I love you.
This is now it's getting really.
Everybody loves you
But
here.
you're a very lovable guy. In all honesty, you are a lovable guy, and that's why I love you.
Okay.
Why can't you look at him when he said, maybe you make...
I do.
Eye contact during this is really bad.
But,
yeah.
But you, how do you think that I feel
Stop
that
looking at
I'm
the
saying
plug.
somebody that I see every day?
Yes.
I see more than my own family, and I say I love you, and they won't look at me. You know? How do
Yeah.
you think I feel right now?
I not well. I'm not sure.
I'm going to make you comfortable right now and say I'm starting to hate you.
Okay, so this is where I'm comfortable. This is good. All right.
They'll settle right in.
He locked eyes after that.
I feel like we just grew. I mean,
yeah.
all the love. My penis grew for sure. That got sexy.
There's nothing wrong with that.
This is a comfortable, safe space for
Very
all of
safe.
us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to plug Joe because Joe
Oh.
no. Joe List is in studio. Joe's performing at the Draft House Comedy Theater in Washington D.C. October 13th to 14th. DraftHouseComedy.com for tickets. Joe's also going to be at the Rooster T. Feathers in Sunnyvale, California, October 19th through the 22nd. Go to roostertfeathers.com for tickets. And Tuesdays with Stories is happening live at the Fat Black Pussycat Wednesday, November 8th at 11 p.m. as part of the New York Comedy Festival.
Thank you so much, buddy. You're always the best.
Thanks for having me. I love being here. I
That
really
was a
do.
great story,
I love
too.
you guys, and I
Yeah.
love being here.
Do you love Chris?
I do. I love Chris. I love seeing him. I get happy when I see him.
Uncomfortable.
And I feel it makes me feel good to feel welcomed.
Yes, you are very, very welcomed, and Chris is very welcome and loved.
Thank you. Well, you're all
So
people
loved.
whose respect I desire. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
And then Nick DiPaolo's going to be at the Ridgefield Playhouse Friday in Ridgefield, Connecticut. Go to nickdip.com for tickets.
I love Nick. Don't you just love Nick?
I love
You
Nick.
love him, Chris?
How much do you love Nick?
Yeah.
You love him like
I'm
a girlfriend?
very fond of Nick DiPaolo. He's a great guy.
All right, that's it for us. We'll see you all again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!